what do we have here? All I know is that this thing basically instantaneously caught my eye when I saw the thumbnail for it. One populist versus 20 Democrats and Republicans. This is interesting. That Cenk Uygur like, framing himself as a populist, even though like he seemingly has like a. Actually, no. Wait. Yeah, he really is just a fucking populist. I do actually no. Yeah. No, I think he is an actual idealized form of a fucking populist, only representing positions that are, well, popular sort of in polling and amongst the fucking American people. So, it does make sense why he does like the whole like anti-trans thing. Although honestly, that's more so a factor of the fact that Anna Kasparian went along with the whole stupid birthing person like schizo conspiracy fucking bullshit. And he's been in a bunch of fights with the people about this, and like he's been sort of like, I don't know if I want to say like canceled or whatever. He's basically gotten a lot of flack for the fact that he's just hardcore committing as much as possible in order to, I don't know, defend the fucking honor of Anna Kasparian, who recently did a fucking podcast episode of the Tucker Carlson show where the two basically like sat there and cavorted about with like talking about just, I don't know, like stupid idiotic like schizo conspiracy theory shit. So like what do we have here? We all know that I don't know, Cenk does the sort of like populism fucking shtick, but like, I don't know, he does it like really bad. What do we have here from
Democrats? Complete failures. We tried establishment Republicans.
Wait, hold, pause, enhance. Is that IRI? Is that I'm really important? Now, okay, keep in mind, IRI, he's basically like, unironically, he's just a Democratic shill, right? He'll like, well, honestly, like IRI, he'll like support anything that just benefits the fucking Democratic Party, which, I don't know, fair enough, or I guess, or something. I'm not really sure. Basically, if it's beneficial for the Democratic Party, IRI will be in fucking support of it. Like, and that's like pretty much his modus operandi. Nothing like really too crazy going on there. So he got fucking called up for this fucking Jubilee. That's fucking crazy.
Complete failures. We tried fake populism under Donald Trump. Complete failures. So the only thing we haven't tried is left-wing populism. You say, don't try it. Go back to the establishment Democrats. Are you crazy?
You can't vote Democrat and then say that, well, because they still support the rich and the rich they get all taxed, I'm still going to cast my vote, which is the most powerful political weapon you have, to the very establishment that you're on one hand trying to tear down.
That's just weird to mention guardrails against firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true.
Ooh, someone bringing up that shit. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, because again, Cenk Uygur had a hand in playing to stopping the fucking TYT fucking union. Ooh, someone who did their fucking research. Interesting. Because as far as I could tell, is there a fucking TYT union? Is there a union at TYT? There is a union. Production and post-production workers successfully unionized with IATSE. The unionization campaign involved a period of opposition from TYT founder and CEO Cenk Uygur, including emails and arguing against the union. However, the campaign ultimately led to the workers voting to unionize and TYT voluntarily recognizing the fucking union. So the claim of saying that Cenk had a role to play in terms of like, well, I don't know if is curtailing like the correct thing to say, basically helping to stop unionization efforts is an accurate one.
You say that if you like.
That is true. Look it up.
Fine. So since you smeared me, let's explain. Hi, I'm Cenk Uygur. I'm host of the Young Turks live weekdays, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. I'm also the head of the TYT Network. I'm also founder of Just Democrats Wolfpack and Rebellion Pack, where we're trying to bring the country together. And here I am surrounded by 20 Democrats and Republicans, and I'm going to try to bring them together.
Fucking keep in mind, he's found Rebellion Pack with that fucking stooge, Brianna Wu, who's basically like just a complete dumb fuck 3 IQ fucking Zionist. So fucking funny, dude.
Claim number one is that Democrats and Republicans agree on economic issues and try to divide us and distract us with culture wars.
No, I'm not wrong on that claim. I'll give Cenk that one. It's true.
How are
Sorry, Cenk. Good to meet you.
Good to meet
My name's
you.
Oliver.
Hey, Oliver.
Yeah. So I guess the first place I want to start off with your claim is to first say that I think there's a grain of truth in it, and I think I would largely agree that when it comes to the system of neoliberalism, the system of capitalism, I think there can be a lot of overlap. I think where I would probably push back a little bit is when we look specifically at what policy issues get passed and how they affect people, there seems to be a very big difference. So for example, under the Biden administration, we saw with the expansion of the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid, we saw over 8 million people become eligible for Medicaid who were previously not eligible. If we contrast that right now with what's in Trump's big beautiful bill, over a 10-year period, that would make between 15 and 16 million people ineligible for Medicaid. So it seems like a crucial economic issue that affects people's ability to, survive, have quality healthcare, live quality lives. There seems to be a stark contrast. So I'm just wondering kind of your thoughts on that.
That's a pretty good point there, right? Like, again, I've mentioned this exact same point before, but the ACA was an improvement to what was before, which was basically, like, from what I understand, like, honestly, it was just, like, nothing. Like, it was just, like, basically, like, just don't get sick in America, forehead, and you'll probably be okay, or some shit, right? That used to be healthcare before in America, and at least with the ACA, albeit it didn't go fucking far enough, it was a improvement in comparison to what was being fucking offered before. So it's just like, well, it's slightly better, I guess. So it's not like the end of the world in that particular respect, but there's still like a lot of work that needs to be done in order to sort of, well, even like think about calling the, I don't know, healthcare situation, I guess for lack of a better term, in America solved. I don't know if that's really the correct term to be used here. Significantly fucking improved.
Where I would disagree is the word stark. So I understand there is a contrast, that's why I vote Democrat. But there's giant buts here. So first of all, they say on Medicare, we should negotiate drug prices. The Democrats say, and then they never deliver. They didn't even try to negotiate drug prices, other than on insulin and maybe 10 other drugs. You go, well, that's pretty good. No, that's 10 drugs out of tens of thousands of drugs. At a maximum, it's only a $6 billion savings, when in reality, what we actually would do if we negotiated the drug prices is several $100 billion in savings. So what I'm saying to you is, while the Democrats do some things that are positive, they do it almost as a release valve. So they go, okay, here's another example that you mentioned, the Affordable Care Act. You know what it was called before it was called Obamacare?
You can enlighten me. The Romney was a plan that was tried in a Republican state.
Exactly. It was called Romney Care.
Yeah.
And you know who came up with it? The Heritage Foundation. The same people who came up with Project 2025.
Okay.
That is a corporate release valve so that people don't build up too much pressure and go to a rebellion or a revolution. But the bottom line is, that was a tiny, tiny little fix thought up by a right-wing think tank. And then now when you say negotiate drug prices, Obama never did it, even though you ran an ad called Belly where he said he was going to do it. Biden does at most 6% of it. The Democrats are constantly doing 5 to 10% as a little release valve, but keep the machine going exactly as it is.
And we can totally agree that there shouldn't be more that's done. I guess maybe I was taking your claim too literally, which is that Democrats and Republicans agree on economic issues. And maybe you qualify in there. Is it largely agree? Is it mainly agree?
Oh, it's definitely large. Yeah,
okay.
It's not 100% agree, otherwise it would be too obvious.
Sure.
But is it true that they largely agree? Of course. So I'll give you many other examples.
Okay.
Paid family leaves at 84%. Yet the Democrats never seem to be able to pass it. Why do they never pass it? Because they're not trying. They said they do the public option. Joe Biden didn't even announce it, or introduce the public option. Why? Because they...
I don't know why. Okay, so is it just gonna be like attacking the fucking Democrats? Yeah, I agree you should attack the Democrats for not fucking passing any of this stuff. But again, this fails to sort of take into the fact that there is another party that actively does everything possible to undermine those particular very popular policies, the Republican Party. So yeah, like, again, bash the fucking Democrats for being like feckless, cowardly, and ineffective, but you should still always mention the fact that there is another fucking party in play who actively does everything possible in order to make it such that these popular policies are never passed. We just saw the fucking Mike Flood sort of like town hall thing, and also like there's a reason why Republicans are constantly being told like to not go to their town halls and not fucking talk with their constituents. Because again, the objective of the Republican Party and what they want to do is they don't want to fucking represent you. They want to rule over you. They want a fucking monarchy. That's what the Republican Party is looking to build.
They agree with Republicans.
I don't think they agree with Republicans necessarily. I just think that sometimes it's hard to pass legislation in a bitterly divided Congress. Would you acknowledge that it's difficult very often in order to get things done? You don't.
No, see, that's the number one excuse Democrats use. Oh, golly gee, there was nothing we could do. And they're saying there was nothing we could do. There was nothing we could do. In reality, he didn't even try for the public option, Biden. He didn't introduce it. So that pulls it over 70%. Why not try? Sure. $50 minimum wage. Republicans didn't take that out of the bill. Joe Biden took it out of the bill. You see those things where you can tell intent, and the intent is he actually agrees with the donor class and the Republicans. He doesn't want those things. And brother, if you can't pass a bill at 84%, then are you saying the Democrats are the most incompetent politicians in history?
I'm not saying they're the most incompetent party. I'm also not saying they're perfect.
I mean, they are very incompetent. Okay, I'm agreeing with fucking Cenk here. The fucking goddamn not Republican, but the Democratic Party they're incompetent, but it's a sort of like willing incompetence, because again, I've talked about this before, but the main thing with the Democratic Party is that they also want to have a lot of the exact same fucking donors and like sort of political class donating to them that the Republicans also have. They also want to have that fucking billionaire corporate money and cash and flow and shit like that, in order to be able to, well, pretty simply put, just have like, I'm trying to think of like what the best term here to use is like a sort of like valve. I don't know if valve is the correct term to use here. They basically want to make it such that it is a lot more difficult for a lot of like progressive legislation to be passed that would ostensibly be very, very good fucking legislation because they have a lot of the exact same fucking corporate interests as the fucking Republican Party. That's not ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. They have a lot of the exact same fucking interests, and it makes it such that it is rather, well, difficult in order to be able to enact like good sort of like populist policy, right? Like that's not like ridiculous to say.
That we risk running into an issue where we equate the two parties as being virtually the same, which leads people to not voting whatsoever at all, because the whole class is against them. And I'm in complete agreement with you that the two-party system is fundamentally broken, and the Democrats in a lot of ways have a lot of the same issues. I guess what I predominantly have an issue with is those who maybe don't take the time to have nuance in the discussion and just say, oh, they agree on economic issues and they only want to divide us on cultural issues.
So here's the difference.
It's important to make that, because otherwise people stay home, they don't vote, and then we're in the situation that we're in right now, and a lot of people don't end up voting.
No, but Oliver, so let me tell you my perspective on it that's really important.
Okay.
So Democrats always say, hey, look, there's a 5 to 10% difference, so you should vote for us.
Okay.
But they don't quite say it that way. You understand that, I understand that, a lot of people here understand that.
Marketing's a thing.
Right,
Marketing's a
no,
thing.
hold on, this is super important.
Okay.
But they tell the voters, we're going to make a big difference. We're going to do minimum wage, we're going to do public option, we're going to do pay family leave. And when they don't, people get disappointed, and that leads them to not voting. That leads them to hating the Democratic Party. What I'm saying is go with populist left. That is the one thing that has not been tried. We would actually do the bills. We do the bills, otherwise then you're the same as the Republicans.
Fair enough. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver.
Okay.
Hey, Cenk, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Great to speak with you. I agree with your overall term here. I would say that at the
Bo?
end goal, they agree that economically we all want the same things, right? But the way we get it is two completely different economical viewpoints. We have the left that tends to be more socialist and communist, and we have the right that is more crony capitalist.
Okay.
The left wants to take your taxes and they want to distribute it the way they want.
Yeah.
Well, we got the fucking Republican. All right, we got a fucking dumbass.
The right wants you to keep your taxes right now. They want you to keep your overtime taxes. They want you to keep your taxes on tips. So
Yeah.
what is your...
Yeah, so first of all,
Yeah, that's not even true, by the way. Like, that's just a complete fucking farce. Like, the taxes on fucking tips things, that's not even, like, in the fucking big, beautiful bill. It's just a lie. It's nonsense.
Bro, you gotta stop saying socialism and communism. Because none of the Democratic politicians are in favor of that. They're actually
Bernie's quite literally
Yeah,
socialists.
no. So he says he's Democratic socialist. Even he doesn't really go towards what you would consider socialism, because you're putting socialism and communism in the same bucket where they don't belong. None of them are in favor of ending corporations, ending capital, etc. In fact, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, their number one problem is that they're corporatists, not that they're socialists or communists.
No, they
will
wanted to
do
end-
whatever corporate donors tell them to do.
They wanted to
That is
end
exactly
businesses
opposite of
with vaccine
communism.
mandates.
Yeah,
That was-
no, brother,
yeah, no.
no, but that's drug companies. They're doing the exact.
Wait, did he say that vaccine mandates are Dude, vaccine mandates is socialism. That's what that means. Yeah. Guys, we found the fucking dipshit Republican. Dipshit Republican alert.
Opposite of communism. They're saying corporate donors will do whatever you corporations want. So when you turn to the Republicans, it's the same thing as Oliver. They have a 5-10% release with Donald Trump now. He's pretending to be a populist. So he goes, oh my God.
Donald Trump isn't pretending, he is a populist.
Well,
He just won the popular vote, both left and right,
No,
moving in his direction.
hold on. So when you talk about that bill, the budget bill that is not big or beautiful, it is big, but it's definitely not beautiful.
Sure.
The majority of the tax cuts go, of course, as always, to the rich, right?
Right.
But they put in a tiny release valve of, we'll help the middle class a little bit on tips and overtime. Well, that even
Well,
stays
how
in the
come
bill, a
every
different question.
how come
But what
every
are they doing?
Republican
Here, let me tell you a
office,
fact.
I make more money on taxes.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you a fact. So what they do is they throw a little more slut as Obama and Biden throw a little more slang on for social policies, as we discussed earlier. But the overwhelming majority always goes to rich. For example, in this bill, they're cutting Medicaid and SNAP by 1.1 trillion. Do you know how much is going to people making above $500,000 a year in tax cuts? 1.1 trillion. Okay, so they're literally taking from the poorest people and giving it to the richest people.
Which is what the liberals have been doing forever. So what's the
How are
difference?
they doing? So no, but
I don't know. The dude's just a fucking like. What else are you even supposed to say here? Yeah, the dude's just like a fucking brain dead fucking moron. Just like, yeah, listen, everything that's like bad that's happening is all because of the Democrats' fault. Like, brother, please like use your brain for like 3 fucking seconds. It's like, no, dude, like it's a fucking corporatocracy. It's a fucking big club, and you're not fucking in it, dumbass.
Brother, what I'm saying is you're actually proving my point. Democrats and Republicans constantly say that they have giant differences. Then what did the Republicans do? They do massive tax cuts for the rich. And then Obama, by the way, came in and actually made Bush's tax cuts permanent, which cost us even more than the original Bush tax cuts did. So there's a lot of fear about how they disagree. But at the end of the day,
why do we as a
always
business
get tax
owner
cuts.
save more money when
Republicans
Republicans are in office? Why do we as a business owners save money?
So you know why? So I'm a small business owner.
Sure.
So we save a little bit of money. The giant corporations save a ton of money.
Isn't it better
They
if
always
everybody
go-
saves money?
No, it's not.
Why
because
not? That makes no sense.
No, brother.
I don't know why this fucking dude is constantly swaying out about small business owners. Most people on the planet are not fucking small business. Listen, it's time for the Hitlerite fucking small business owner to get their fucking goddamn representation. I wonder if this guy owns a fucking small business. Yeah, dude. Everyone's going to be really, really fucking glad about the fact that their small business is, I don't know, getting the necessary like fucking tax cuts or whatever the fuck. Like, it's fucking stupid, man. Like, won't anyone ever think about small business owners in America? I feel like they're really important to consider in terms of all this stuff. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Yeah, it's a good point, Alex. Like, small business owners are the people who have been hit the hardest by the fucking tariffs. And they're also going to get hit the hardest from the fucking big, beautiful bill. Like, this guy's a fucking moron. Like, Republicans are also not good for fucking small business owners. Small business owners don't like the Republican Party.
It's easy to say, okay, then we shouldn't have any roads, bridges, cops, fire departments.
Nobody's saying that. We just don't want our money going to foreign.
We
just don't want our money going to foreign countries.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
On drag
And by the way, that's
events.
another thing that proves my point. Republicans and Democrats always do whatever AIPAC tells them. So that is a
Well, that's a different argument.
No, it's not.
I
It's the
agree,
same
so-
argument. It's the donor class.
Thank you, Cenk.
Yeah.
That guy's just stupid, I guess.
Nice to meet you.
So when you talk about this concept of like a release valve, it seems like you're downplaying very relevant and very important differences that exist between the parties. So the Affordable Care Act, you understand that it expanded coverage to like millions of people. More people got Medicaid. Premiums were subsidized. Like this is good policy. And I agree with you. Sometimes, in many cases, Democrats lack spine. They don't push hard enough. But I think chalking it up to like they're pretty much the same. There's just a little release valve difference is a little bit reductive.
Yeah, it's not at all reductive, and the Affordable Care Act is a perfect example of it. So you're right, it was better than the previous system because the previous system had pre-existing conditions, and you get blocked for that, and American people despise that. So it needed to be changed. That is part of the reason why a right-wing think tank, Heritage Foundation, came up with Romney Care. It's a release valve, and it's a Republican idea. Then Mitt Romney took it and passed it in Massachusetts. That's why it's called Romney Care. Then Obama and Romney ran a campaign where they pretended to be on exact opposite ends of the spectrum with the same exact healthcare plan, literally the same exact healthcare
Do
plan.
you think the ACA is like a right-wing health insurance plan?
It was literally created by a right-wing
Like
think
the
tank, Heritage
Republicans right now in
Foundation.
Congress are trying to push a reconciliation bill that literally guts Medicaid when the ACA expanded Medicaid.
Yes. So they always move the goalposts. So what do? They bring in, okay, here's our release valve. Okay, now the American people are still mad. Of course they are. Because, and here, let's talk about the next steps that happened. Obama said, oh yeah, we might do the public option, which would have been not universal health care, but a good step forward.
I do think that this sort of release valve rhetoric, I kind of agree, does seem a little fucking reductive, right? Because again, the improvement from what was there previously, like I don't know, like Boy Meets Minnie or Alex, like you guys could fucking actively sort of talk about like the previous sort of healthcare plan under the United States of America. It was basically like non-existent. And yeah, that's a really good point there, Alex. Yeah, Romney was not even running on fucking Romney Care. Like, he wasn't running on like a fucking healthcare plan whatsoever. So to say that like, oh, it's all like a part of the fucking release valve thing, and it's all just like, the Democrats are just really, really bad and evil for like, it's not like enough to pass the fucking ACA. Like, is reductive. I agree with the fucking individual here that's fucking talking. Like, it's not. It's not just like, oh yeah, dude, totally. Like, it's all just because the Republicans and the Democrats are like totally and utterly the same. Like, literally, Trump on day one was trying to completely gut and destroy the fucking ACA. Like, he was trying to fucking get rid of that shit. So like, huh? What do you mean? Like, he was trying to destroy that stuff and make it such that, I don't know, like America in terms of the healthcare department is going back to the fucking Wild West. So a little fucking reductive to say, like, yeah, it's all about the fucking safety valves with the Democrats and the Republicans. It's all about, like, a reduction of fucking sort of differing policies and stuff. But, at least in, like, some aspects, yeah, sure, they are better. But, yeah, whatever. Yeah, the pre-existing condition stuff was awful. Literally, if an insurer wanted to throw you off of the insurance, they would look through your records and claim there were signs of a pre-existing condition. That's so fucking funny. So at any point in time, the private insurer could just be like, yeah, I see evidence of, like, some sussy baka stuff, so we're just gonna, like, get rid of you. Like, they could just do that. So goofy.
Forward. Right. I was there. Young Turk's been around forever, and I was like, yes, you got to do the public option. Then Obama says publicly, oh, I guess we can't do the public option. Wink. And they immediately took it out of the bill. What's that?
That's because of Joe Lieberman, right? But
No,
59 other Democrats would have voted for
okay,
the
see,
public
that's exactly what I'm talking about. So that they
It's
always,
all
hold on, they
different.
always have an excuse. So right now, under Biden, the excuse was, oh, we don't have enough senators. Oh, golly, geez,
That's how you pass
hold
laws,
on.
though.
The filibuster, the parliamentarian. And then under Obama, they had 60. They could pass anything they wanted. They're like, let's take a really, really long time with Romney Care. Oh, oops, we ran out of our 60. Things changed. Okay, now the Republicans are ignoring the parliamentarian when they try to pass this bill. So the Democrats keep finding excuses. Why did they take the public option out of the bill?
You think
Why
Obama
did they
didn't
never
want the
choose the public option
public
back again? I don't think the Democrats want the public option at all.
When 59 senators said we'll vote yes on this, and Lieberman
That's
tanked
what I'm trying to tell you, brother. They don't mean it. So let me give you two examples.
getting that from?
Where am I getting it from?
If Lieberman
Where am I
agreed,
getting it
we
from?
got
Number
a
one,
public
the public option polls at over 70%. They didn't even try to pass it.
Sure, but
Number two, when
healthcare
Biden came to office, said he was going to do public option,
Yeah.
and then he lied, and he never once
Biden
introduced
has,
it.
like,
He
no
never once
political
introduced it.
capital compared to Obama.
Oh, now they don't have political capital. Golly, gee,
Because
constant
the reality
excuses
is
for,
that
oh my God,
they
I
can't
can't. The voters
It's
are
not
sick of I
can't.
can't.
It's not
Why don't you
can't.
actually try?
It's
So
more
tell me why
difficult.
they're such losers. They can't pass paid family leave at 84%.
I
Are they
agree with
losers
you on
or do they
policy.
actually secretly agree with the Republicans and they don't want any of this because they're corporate donors?
I agree with you on policy. I want paid family without single payer healthcare. But this is not like super easy to pass. You're like, if they just all
Yes,
hold
it
their
is.
hands
I
and
can
buy
pass in
out,
2
we're
weeks.
gonna get like
2
single
weeks.
payer.
Okay, so here's how you do it. Guys, you see, you've been taught by mainstream media and Democratic politicians to accept failure. Oh my God, there's nothing we can do to pass this.
I do kind of agree that there is like a lot of complicated, like minute sort of political details and stuff like that. A lot of like incurring, like this is why I do kind of agree with the sort of statement that Cenk is sort of being like a little reductive here, right? Because he is being kind of reductive here, but it's not like fucking correct kind of a deal. But the thing is like, in terms of like America's structure as like a country in of itself, it is an incredibly fucking right-wing fucking country. Okay, that's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say, right? Like a lot of fucking things that are popular that I think should be fucking obviously passed are not going to, generally speaking, be fucking passed very often because there's a lot of fucking vested interests. And also people who are just willing to fucking sabotage sort of progress on a particular issue. That's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say, right? Like, there are fucking senators and people out there who are just not willing to fucking go along with particular things because they are paid by certain corporations to say stuff. But that's not like Cenk is sort of trying to extrapolate that as a sort of like general party apparatus kind of a thing, when that's not like exactly fucking accurate. I guess this is sort of like I suppose the consequences of the big tent party that the Democratic Party, I guess, sort of encapsulates, exists under, is in general. Sure, we'll go with that. Like, that's kind of the main fucking issue, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of people who have like a lot of like particular certain opinions, and they're going to be pretty dog shit for the most part, like, because a lot of them have like the exact same fucking corporate interests. But generally speaking, because I've had a problem with this before, to say that they are just in complete accordance with like literally everything that the fucking Republicans want to do, in accordance with everything that the sort of like right-wing think tank sort of thing, it's not exactly an accurate sort of like position to say, to be quite honest. Because, like, in terms of, like, social issues, the Democrats are obviously going to be better in that respect in comparison to the Republicans. That's not, like, ridiculous to fucking say. There are aspects where Democrats are fucking better, definitely in terms of the economy and everything. Which is why I'd never, like, really agree with, like, all the sort of, like, attempts of people to try to, like, quote-unquote leave the Democratic Party, because I just don't think it's going to be really effective, because there's just, like, no other alternative at the moment to sort of, like, replace the fucking goddamn party. Like, there's no apparatus to go ahead and do that, and, like, Jill Stein and the fucking Green Party are not putting up fucking anything on the fucking board in order to help with that particular issue. But that's a whole other fucking, like, song and dance and story. But generally speaking, the problem is again, like Cenk has been saying, and I do agree with him here, it's just like, it's all fucking corporatocracy, it's all a fucking big club, and you ain't in it kind of a deal. And I don't know, to say that it's just as simple as like, well, you know, both parties just absolutely agree on the economic issues, I don't think is exactly true. I don't agree with that sort of position, because there are slight fucking differences. Are they not good enough? Yeah, sure. Like, I can agree with that. But at least the fucking goddamn Democratic Party are willing to do some things in order to alleviate the fucking problems. It's just that it's not really enough. To say that it's all just, like, forehead, the Democrats are, like, worse on this and are similar to Republicans, rather, on this, I just don't think it's fucking accurate. They're bad, for sure. But the same? Not exactly.
Here's how you do it. Here's super easy. Listen. Paid family is at 84. Why do I keep insisting on that? Because here's what you would do. You would introduce a 74% of Republican voters one, and then you would say, I dare you to vote against it. If you vote against it, you're voting against 84% of Americans, and you will lose your next election. I will campaign against you. I will find a Republican to campaign against you. And then, but you say, no, don't even try. Don't even try. Oh, we have these giant differences, but we never pass our bills. We never even try. And who took out $15 minimum wage? Joe Biden took out $15 minimum wage. So they never need it, brother. When is it going to get through to you that they don't pass it for a reason?
Republicans agree with us. They agree nominally. I'll give you a great example of this. If you poor Republicans, should we cut Medicaid? They say no. When Medicaid's actually cut and you pull them, they're just cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. So, like, nominally, yes, everyone agrees. Universal healthcare is good. When you get into the nitty-gritty of actual policy, it gets a lot more complicated. I agree. Democrats should fight much harder, use the bully pulpit, campaign on these issues. But the idea that they're willfully, purposefully sabotaging themselves, some of them sure, but this is not as easy as you're painting out to be.
Okay, so number one, on minimum wage, we at the Young Turks Squad were going to put it back in and at least get a vote. Okay, it got a vote. And guess what happened? The 8 Democratic senators who were pretending to be in favor of it all of a sudden voted with the Republicans. They had more than enough to block it because the Democrats don't mean it. They always do rotating villains. So, brother, at what point are you going to say the failure is on purpose and not, golly gee, they're the Washington Generals against the driver?
Like, again, like I'm saying here, like, is it failure on purpose? We don't really know for certain. Like, I'm kind of, like, on the fucking fence for this kind of a shit, because it's just like, is it failure on fucking purpose by the Democratic Party? Maybe, but then again, like, we can point to some of the pretty decent legislation that fucking passed under Joe Biden, where, like, Kyle Kalinske even himself said, like, I was not willing to go ahead with the fucking Democrats at all, because, like, Joe Biden, when he initially ran his campaign in 2020, said, like, he's not going to change anything at all. But then again, he just passed a bunch of stuff that was pretty good. Appointed people like Lena Khan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, a lot of fucking general sort of like pro-union, pro-labor stuff was passed under fucking Joe Biden in terms of like different like committees and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, you know, well, yeah, 1000%. Like, he is just a fucking terrible fucking negotiator. I 100% fucking agree with that there, Alex. Like, that's the fucking problem. Like, Build Back Better had a lot of really good fucking provisions in it. It's just that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin were easily able to sort of, like, manipulate that doddering old moron, Joe Biden, because, again, he's a doddering old fucking moron who is just not very good at fucking negotiating because he's doddering and fucking old. And, well, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are demons. So, you know.
When you have slim majority,
Is that like the Democrats' fault at that point? I don't think so, because everyone was on board for fucking Build Back Better. At that point, it's, again, like two fucking goddamn dipshits who are just getting in the way and ruining everything. But the problem is then you can just be like, well, why can't you just like wield the bully pulpit and like I don't know, do the same thing as what like I think Lyndon B. Johnson would do, and that is to basically force them into submission and be like, you are going to fucking go along with my agenda whether you fucking like it or not, or there's going to be fucking consequences with it. And I mean, the Democratic Party just isn't fucking encapsulating that attitude. So you can chalk it up to Cenk then in that particular aspect, not aspect, but in that particular case, saying that yeah, the Democratic Party is not willing to fight or do anything in order to like pass their fucking agenda. I don't think I disagree with that in that particular sense. It's just that it's a little fucking weird and complicated. The problem is, like I've said before, the reason why I try not to go like too hard, broadly speaking, on a lot of fucking Democrats and stuff like that is because fascism is here. It's been here for a while. I think it's more important to try to get as many people on board as possible to try to fight against it as hard as possible in order to, well, try to fucking stop that first and then like go from there and try to like figure out like what we can do. And again, we also have to take this also into as a factor as well. The American people are really fucking stupid. Like, I'll be quite honest, they're very fucking stupid. They are very, very class unconscious and will just like vote against their fucking interests all the fucking goddamn time and be easily like propagandized to all the fucking goddamn time. Like, it is also part of it is just a voter problem. So to just say that it's just like forehead the Democrats, I think is a little reductive. I do agree with Cenk in the respect that yeah, a lot of the times the Democrats do just come up with like really weak, stupid excuses to not go ahead with like obviously like very popular sort of policy. But also like it's the fact that there is first off a party that is actively malicious and makes everything worse. Period. End of story for everybody. But it doesn't help the fact that at times the Democratic Party will just be so like actively like stupid and fucking incompetent and will just like shoot itself in the foot for like no fucking reason. It's one of those things where I don't think like Cenk is trying to like generalize something that I think is he's trying to generalize something that I think is a little more complicated than that, which I very, very roundabout way of me saying like yeah, it's. What he's saying isn't entirely wrong. It's just, it's a little fucking trickier than that. Like, we don't know about, like, what goes on in the fucking backroom dealings constantly, right? That lead the fucking Democrats in order to adopt, like, the certain idiotic positions that they have sometimes.
Majority's paradigm shifting policies started in the
But
past.
60 is not a slim majority. You constantly have excuses. Obama had 60 and he still didn't do it. You could have 80 and you still find an
ACA was
excuse.
massive legislation that he got with 60.
Yes, beautiful Romney Care from Heritage Foundation.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, man.
How are you?
Hey there.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you raised a very interesting point when you said that Democrats and Republicans agree essentially on the same issues and that they want to distract us with culture wars. The question that I would raise is why are culture wars a distraction when they are such a vital issue? It's reported to myself as a conservative, and I'm quite certain every Democrat in this room, issues like abortion, social justice, or things that affect us in ways that maybe some policies only benefit the rich. Why should we not focus on things that benefit Americans every day and that can affect women's bodies or gay people's right to get married or maintain the right?
Yeah. So I'm not saying that social issues are not important. That's why I vote Democrat instead of Republican, because I believe women should have the right to an abortion and many of the other things that are on the left. Okay. But at the same time, when you talk about trans sports, for example, do you know how many trans athletes there are in the NCAA's?
No, I don't.
10 out of 500,000 athletes. Right. So for 10 people, we had this giant debate, and the far right were like, no, that's it. This is what the Democratic Party is all about. And the far left was like, yes, that is all we're about. And this is about vulnerable communities, and you have to protect them. So this is the hill we're going to die on. And we're going to talk about this nonstop. Okay. But
yeah, here's where Cenk is gonna do the, like 3 IQ stupid idiot fucking dog shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, the left did not say that they're gonna die on the hill of fucking protecting trans people in sports. That's delusional and complete utter fucking nonsense. This is listen, hey Cenk. By the way, the reason why people started having fucking problems with you is because of like straw men like this.
But meanwhile, we're getting robbed every single administration. Trillions of dollars in tax cuts under Republicans and under Obama. Tax cut after tax cut for rich, for the corporations, deregulation after deregulation. You know why they want to split us? They want you to fight left and right. They want you to look left and right. They don't want you to look up.
Well,
Okay.
of course, having to look up is very vital. Okay, my master always tells us to look up. That's why we're the cross. But the point that I'm making is that social issues, in order to really, wouldn't it make sense to effectively mobilize people? You should start with things that can touch them every single day. Social issues impact children, women, men, all of us across all ages and across all ideologies. Shouldn't it be for the American population, whose average attention span is maybe 43 to 56 seconds at best, to influence them politically? Wouldn't it be best to start with something like a social issue that would then raise their awareness
No.
to issues dealing with the rich and issues dealing with taxes? Why not?
Because that splits us. It splits us on purpose. Those don't unify. I say the exact opposite. Why why don't you start on bills we all agree on that have over 70% popularity, like getting money out of politics, anti-war, lowering drug prices through Medicare. Instead, you get to social issues. Here, I'll give you, I'm from a vulnerable community. I'm from a Muslim background, right? But if I told Democrats, I want you to focus only on Muslim rights, that'd be mental. Don't do that. I'm not saying don't care about Muslim rights. I want you to care about that. I want everyone to have 100% same rights.
What I'm saying
you
is
build credibility by actually delivering for all of the American people. We raise all of your wages. We brought down drug prices for everyone, for Republicans and Democrats.
By your logic, that could undermine certain things like going back in history for a second here, the civil rights movement, things like that, which were inherently social and economic issues in combination. Why not? My question is, why not work with both of those issues side by side? Why are you deliberately attempting to prioritize?
Am I fucking gonna have to agree with the fucking conservative here? I don't like this guy says he's a fucking conservative. I don't think so. He's basically making the argument of ¿por qué no los dos? Like, you can do both, right? Like, you can do that. But for some reason, again, like, Cenk is seemingly taking, like, the strange, like, class reductionist position for some fucking reason. Like, the same shit that fucking Jimmy Dore did. It's just, which is a little fucking weird.
One over the other.
No, so what I'm saying to you, brother, is two things. Number one, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So you don't have to give up Muslim rights, you don't have to give up civil rights, you don't have to stop worrying about that, etc. You can fight on that, but don't forget, you're not supposed to hate the other side. They want you to hate the other side. Stop hating the other side. Fight on the issues you don't agree on, and then on the things you do agree on, stop listening to establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats that divide you so that you never realize, hey, why are most of the tax cuts going to the rich? Why are corporations getting every break? Why is it that in every bill, all the subsidies go to oil companies, banks, etc.? So why don't we unite on the things we agree on first?
By your own logic, that does a disservice to the fact that, what doesn't do a disservice? It acknowledges the fact that as you still vote Democrat, you are still in essence supporting the very system that you're at the same time talking about tearing down. So it's a lot of double talk, is it not?
No, what I do
You can't vote Democrat and then say that, well, because they still support the rich and the rich get all the tax cuts, I'm still going to cast my vote, which is the most powerful political weapon you have, to the very establishment that you're on one hand trying to tear down.
That's why.
Well, the problem is because there is no fucking other option. I don't see, like, the point of, like, bringing this up. Like, why are you bringing this up? There is currently no other fucking option besides red or blue team. Like, to pick one. You're gonna only get the other one if you don't pick the other one. If you don't pick one, like, this is a problem with the fucking political system.
Primaries are critical. Well, if I want one thing for you guys all to think about is you must vote in your primaries, because the mainstream media doesn't want you voting in the primaries, because that's where you can make real change. So that's why they love it when you go, oh, well, if you don't vote for a Democrat, Trump's going to be in office and Trump's the boogeyman, and the Republicans will say likewise, right? So go vote in your primaries so you don't have to worry about Democrats or Republicans. You're still in the same party, but get rid of the bums who are for corporate donors who always serve donors, and get people that you love on both economic issues and social issues. You don't have to give up one, but you have to insist on them representing you and not the donor class.
Very great conversation.
Thank you,
brother.
brother.
Hello.
Hey,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm not going to disagree with you that in every case, Democrats don't go after the most radical economic policy. One example.
Not radical, they all poll over 70%.
Sure, yeah, sure. I'm a Democrat myself. I agree with a lot of what you say. One example of what you said before is that Joe Biden wanted to cut the corporate or raise the corporate income tax to 20% instead of back to 35%. However, I think that one point to consider would be the fact that a lot of the times Democrats are having to clean up the mess that Republicans made, and when someone like Joe Biden only has 2 years of adequate Senate support, right, it's very difficult to argue that he should be pursuing farther left tactics when we're just trying to get a reconciliation bill passed that can be supported by Joe Manchin, right? The economy was completely destroyed in 2020 after COVID. It was completely destroyed in 2007 after Obama. So there has to be a little give there.
So on economic issues, what I'm telling you, brothers, is they're playing good cop, bad cop. On you, on all of us, okay? So the tax cuts is a perfect example. So you're right, Donald Trump takes it from 35 to 21. It's a massive corporate tax cut. That's on Trump, that's on the Republicans. Then Joe Biden says, well, I'm going to fight that, and he gets a lot of votes to go fight that. And he says, I'm going to bring it back up to 28%. I'm like, wait, it was at 35. So already he's conceding, yeah, I love corporate tax, corporate tax cuts. Hold on. Then he says, oh, well, Joe Manchin wants to make it 25. So golly gee, I don't have a choice, 25. Then did he fight for 25? No, he never introduced it. Never fought for 25. So you tell me, Joe Biden had 4 years and kept it at 21% and never even tried.
Well, realistically, he had 2 years to get a bill passed. It's the truth. At the end of the day, right, if Joe Manchin sticks somewhere and he says, well, okay, maybe I'll let you have an extension of the child tax credit, for example, to keep it 20. We don't know all the backdoor negotiations that happened between Joe Biden and Joe Manchin. At the end of the day, right, you can't have everything you want, whether Joe Manchin or Joe Biden.
Did you ever consider that they don't mean it? The reason that Joe Biden never tried to raise corporate taxes is because he doesn't want corporate taxes to go up. It was all a trick. It was all a game played on all of us. No, I know.
I don't buy that either, by the way, because again, like, why would he put people like Lena Khan into power at the FTC? Why would he pass stuff, for example, like the Respect for Fucking Marriage Act, right? Like, I personally, like, I'm not trying to be like a fucking Democrat shill here or like whatever the fuck. I just do not buy the fact that it's just like willful sort of like ignorance or incompetence being done by the fucking Democratic Party, saying like, nah, they just don't want to pass any of this like good legislation, but they've passed some like good fucking legislation while Joe Biden was in office. Here's another example, just for Cenk, for example, right? Like, the drone war under Joe Biden was basically, like, over. There was, like, no one getting fucking bombed by fucking drones during the tenure of Joe Biden. And under Trump, it went up by 432% from fucking Obama. Like, Obama is probably, like, acknowledged as, like, the drone fucking pilot-in-chief or some shit. But under Biden, that shit was basically like non-existent. Okay, that should count for fucking something. Like that's not meaningless. That's something, you know. Like that's not like ridiculous to fucking say. But like Cenk doesn't fucking talk about any of that stuff. So it's just like, well, okay, this is a little fucking weird then. Like, why aren't you saying anything about this? Huh? Well, that's a little strange.
There was nothing they could do. That's why they didn't even bother trying. They never bothered trying on any of this, and you keep insisting, well, good enough. I'll take my 5% change. Thank you, sir. May I have another, sir? So please, for God's sake, wake up and unite to actually get economic policies that we love. The whole country wants.
You can say
Except
that,
those corrupt
but
politicians.
in West Virginia, Kamala Harris lost by 30 points. Okay, if you put someone that is to the left of Kamala Harris on any economic issue, they're going to lose by the same margin.
You're totally wrong. Do you know what percentage of Americans want to not cut taxes on the rich, but raise taxes on the rich? No. What do you mean? On television, they constantly say, oh, cutting taxes is popular. Raising taxes is very unpopular. That's not true. Raising taxes on the rich polls at 76%. You would win West Virginia. You would win Kentucky if you ran on populist campaign. If you said, yes, I'm going to raise taxes on the rich. Yes, I'm going to give you lower drug prices. Yes, I'm going to give you higher wages. But the Democrats don't say that. They say, oh, I'm going to try a little bit, and then I'm not even going to choose any of those bills.
Seeing it through the lens of a lot of voters see it through when they're going to vote for people like Joe Manchin, people that will give us a Senate majority.
All right, thank you.
Well, yeah, this is not an inaccurate. I mean, God, again, like, the problem is that it's such a fucking difficult dynamic to sort of like assess, because it depends on, again, the willful other half of that being the fucking goddamn Republican Party, who are going to basically do everything possible to sabotage, to sort of like come up with like particular, I don't know, sloganeering or like whatever the fuck, in order to try to like sabotage any sort of like left sort of populist fucking effort. And also, again, we're dealing with a fucking neoliberal party. So how interested are they in actually like passing this particular policy? I mean, that's like also another question. Like it's a bit of a fucking shit show.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded.
Whoa, Surrounded is a podcast.
Anywhere, anytime.
Epic.
My next claim is Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. It's a marketing ploy, not a mission.
Hi, Zena, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Zena.
Awesome. So I think that we largely agree on like kind of other.
Wait, isn't this the girl who debated Jordan Peterson? I remember her. She also debated Jordan Peterson.
Said. I just like want a little clarity on understanding how Democrats like water down their social issues, things like DEI and other measures to kind of bridge the gap that we've seen in like racial disparity, for example. How, in your worldview, do we reconcile such issues?
So in the beginning, do we need affirmative action? Definitely, because what happened before the civil rights movement was, so let's say that your firefighters or your longshoremen, those are really good jobs. They pay pretty well. They're good blue collar jobs. What do you want to do? You want to pass it on to your kids because you're normal, right? That's the type of thing that you want to do. But unfortunately, at that point, almost all the jobs are held by white people. So we do affirmative action because, guys, we got to let others in. Otherwise, it's not fair, right? And so that makes sense. But then over the course of decade after decade after decade, we wind up with DEI. And DEI has some good things in it, but it also has some abuses in it. So we covered on the Young Turks, there'd be situations where a white woman would say, okay, now can I tell you my perspective? And they would say, no, shut up, your job is to learn. No, don't do that, don't do that. Okay.
So are you talking about like fringe cases in which like someone would say that they feel unfairly treated DEI?
Wait, aren't the people who benefited the most from affirmative action sort of things, like, they were fucking white people? Or white women specifically were the ones who benefited the most from fucking affirmative action. Cenk, are you sure you want to go with this fucking line, buddy? Like, those are the people who benefited the most from that stuff. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Because I think in any type of law that we're going to see passed, we're going to see fringe cases in which the law is I guess, manipulated in some case to negatively affect certain groups. But I think that we see like largely the effect on the black population is extremely substantial and extremely important. For example, we see that, like, I think there's a study done, I don't remember if it was 2015 or 2002, but it was a study done where they simulated a class-based DEI program instead of race. What we found was equally qualified black individuals were much less likely to be chosen on this class-based protocol, and we saw that like the protocol actually represented a lot less of the black population that exists in this country, whereas DEI ensures that we have a representative pool of applicants and admitted students in our colleges, which is extremely important.
So look, again, DEI and affirmative action had their role, had their place, and oftentimes
I'm saying they have a role now.
So, but what it also does at the same time though is serves to divide us. And so look, if you say to me, hey, maybe Muslims have a disadvantage even if you take class.
Again, like he's doing it. Listen, I think Cenk he's just doing the class reductionist bit. It's all fucking class reductionism. Like, focus only on fucking class. Who cares about fucking social issues? Who cares about race and all that fucking stuff when there's like so much fucking historical precedent that has been set by particular sort of people within Congress and with certain types of skin color that have made it have done everything possible in order to make it as difficult as possible for particular people to be able to fucking succeed. You know, like it's not as simple as just like, oh yeah, bro, it's all just because of like it's all just because of like woke DEI stuff, which is why like it's difficult to pass like a lot of this stuff. It's like, well, no, that's not the case. That's fucking silly and stupid. It's not as simple as just like, yeah, dude, woke DEI shit is being used to only divide us. Like, heck in a Reno, it's totally just being used to sort of like make things more complicated for us. I mean, that's just not the case. It's fucking silly. Yeah, Cenk is a CPIM socialist. That's true.
Class into account. So should we give a little bit of extra weight to Muslim candidates? I would say absolutely not.
Why not?
Do not do that. Because then what it does is it makes everyone bitter about the Muslim candidates. And it makes them seem like they didn't earn it, when in fact they did earn it.
What you're explaining is the response to the policy, and you're not actually digging at the policy in itself. You're saying because people will come out and be, racist or Islamophobic or whatever it might be, because of a policy that is ensuring equality of opportunity, we should cancel the policy. But that's not a critique of the policy, that's a critique of the Republican or usually conservative response to said policy. So do you have a problem with the policy or the response?
So my point here is that this is among the different things that the Democrats do, where they say, hey, I think they're being performative. They say, oh, we're in favor of DEI. But when it actually, the thing that would help African American community, Latino community, Muslim community, all those communities is actually raising the minimum wage, lowering joint prices. But we never do the material help. We never do things that equal things out economically.
You still have to critique the policy in itself. You're saying people will get angry if we come out and we promote these different metrics.
No, I am critiquing the policy.
So what
I'm
exactly
saying
are the policies?
because it divides us.
How does
And
policy
so
divide?
even though it
By
has
saying
a
that racism exists?
Yeah, so
But racism,
no, not by saying that racism exists. So you have to acknowledge reality, right? What you're saying is now we're going to put black people in this category, we're going to put white people in this category.
Because there are categories that exist now at a subconscious level that we
so
characterize
even if you get a benefit from that, you say, hey, I reduced racism.
Yeah,
by 10%,
¿por qué no los
what you're doing
dos?
is you're not
Kind
noticing
of
the
a
giant
deal.
downside of that, which is then people start to view each other as black, white,
We've always
Asian,
done that. That's
etc.
happening unconsciously all the time.
You're right, but what I would love
So we have
is
to-
for us to stop
all
doing
of
that.
our
For people to
psychology-
stop
if you
looking at
want
me
us
as a
to
Muslim and you as a black.
But that's never gonna fucking happen, Cenk. Like, unironically, the thing that Cenk is asking here right now, like in the current sort of material conditions that we find us, this is fucking utopian. Like, that's not gonna fucking happen, dude. Like, again, like the only instances where this could like potentially work or something is like, you know, like a not in this like sort of post-truth reality that we're fucking finding ourselves in under at the moment. Like, again, it's honestly the best way to put this is just ¿por qué no los dos? Like, you can do both. That's fine. You can do that. You can be like I don't know, like a woke whatever the fuck bumblefuck bullshit, and also sort of like go ahead and push for legislation that can help benefit the fucking working class and all this fucking stuff. You can just do both. Like, Cenk has just been constantly doing the fucking class reductionist bit the whole time.
If you want us to have less,
I want him to look at you as an
if you want us
American and me
to
as an
have- if you
American.
want less racism and less racial categorizing, or just us to see it as less of an initial categorization, studies show that we need to attack racism and race as a concept like head on. We cannot ignore them or input race neutral policy into place. What we find is that characterizing race, saying what it is, saying what racism is, and thus confronting ourselves with our biases is what limits them. So no, we can't say, oh, let's stop dividing people with the corrective policy. The corrective policy is helping something that has always existed, that's happening all the time.
So I told you I have an issue with the policy itself. I think it
You haven't
divides us.
explained it, though.
And do the Democrats actually pass their agenda? Even if they agreed with you, did they pass Voting Rights Act? They did not.
The problem is
You know
capitulating to right framework with everything what you're doing here when you say the response to DEI is going to be negative. The thing is, when we... All right.
All right, thank you. Hey, good to meet you.
So Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. I would say they want to pass their agenda. It's just if you ask 50 Democrats what their agenda is, you get 60 different answers. We've got the environmentalists who hate the labor people hate the environmentalists, we have the gay rights lobby, we have racial justice people, we have all different people, immigration activists. Like, everybody thinks that their issue is the most important one. And I know you don't acknowledge that usually at the beginning of an administration, there's the
We got a fucking Abunda guy. I'm thinking this is a fucking Abunda guy. Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, by the way, Israel-Palestine is tantamount to a culture war since it's policy that is divisive but doesn't affect us economically, especially since the U.S. has been funding Israel for forever. Israel-Palestine is just right there to divide us, Cenk. That's true. I wonder why he's bringing up fucking DEI and not Israel fucking Palestine. That's a little interesting.
maximum political capital, and if they don't get something in that time, then they weren't really trying. But what has happened in the past, we saw Biden pass a number of bills in those first 2 years. The CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the American Rescue Plan. Obama passed the Affordable Care Act. We passed all kinds of things. But we also all disagree on what the hell the Democrats should do, and that leads to the point where somebody is always frustrated in our coalition because we are not just a big tent, we're a three-ring circus ring. Like, we have such a big tent that's collapsing in on itself. So this idea that we don't want to pass an agenda, the last point I'll make, because I'm taking up a lot of time, I would just look at the places where Democrats have all the power. Like here in California. California, when you were growing up, I was growing up, I'm actually an 80-year-old man, that's why I got my Mr. Rogers sweater. It was smog here in LA. Like, you couldn't see 50 feet in front of your house. We created not just the most powerful environmental regulator in this country, CARB is the most powerful environmental regulator in the world, and that was Democrats that did that. So this idea that when Democrats have power, they don't actually know what to do with it is bogus. We've seen it here in California, we've seen it in New York with free college, we've seen it in many states. So I just don't agree that we don't actually want to do anything.
Okay, so you mentioned about a dozen things there. Let me take two of them as an example. So the CHIPS Act that you mentioned, right? The Democrats told us when we were covering it live on the Young Turks, oh, this is such a monumental bill, it's so important. And I was like, okay, nobody's going to vote based on that. So put that aside, because that was definitely true, but okay, not pertinent to whether they were trying to do something that the Democratic voters wanted. So that they said that was for national security. Okay, there's some truth to that, right? And they said it was to, don't worry, this is to create more jobs. So now, what did they do? Very typical Democratic bill. They passed over $50 billion in corporate subsidies. The number one recipient was Intel, $8.5 billion in grants and $11 billion in loans. So about $20 billion overall. I said, for God's sake, at least put in guardrails so they can't fire people. They said, oh, don't worry, Intel's going to create 10,000 jobs. You know what they did? They didn't put in the guardrails, and right afterwards, Intel fired 20,000 people.
That's just weird.
Wait, that is not fucking accurate. He's actually fucking lying here, right? There was an increase in fucking there was a return to fucking manufacturing jobs under Joe Biden and the fucking goddamn Democrats. That's not true. Again, the only way that you're going to be able to get sort of the companies to sort of go ahead with a lot of the sort of, I'm trying to think of the correct way of putting this. The only way that you're going to get corporations to return manufacturing within the fucking U.S. is by fucking giving subsidies and sort of like incentive structures to be able to do that. Because otherwise, why would they bring back a lot of the fucking jobs within America where that stuff is incredibly expensive in order to have like more workers and stuff like that, union protections, healthcare protections, yada yada yada, health insurance and stuff like that. Even though it's like it's not great or whatever, we can quibble about that. The problem is that if you do not give the incentive structures needed for a lot of different American corporations to bring back jobs to America, what are they going to do? They're just going to overship them overseas every single fucking time. So you have to give them fucking subsidies to incentivize them to be like, listen, Jack, you're gonna get good benefit here if you decide to come to just a table to, I don't know, for America and shit like that. There's reasons why with the tariff policy specifically, that shit's not fucking working with Trump, okay? Because he's just trying to do the tariffs and he thinks that that's the main thing that's going to bring back jobs. When in reality, that's fucking stupid. It's not how that works. Yeah, it's you know, a bunda shit or whatever the fuck. Well, that's not actually a bunda shit there, Boy Meets Mini. It's just it's what the fucking Chips and Science Act is supposed to do. And there's a reason why Joe Biden was able to bring back a bunch of manufacturing jobs to the fucking US, specifically in chip manufacturing. Well, it was because of that fucking, the subsidies and the tariffs as well. Like, it's a little more fucking complicated than just saying, oh, well, Intel just got a bunch of fucking subsidies, which, Cenk seems to be doing here. Well, no, that's a little fucking reductive. Like, unfortunately, fucking companies need to be given incentives in order to be able to bring back manufacturing to a particular fucking goddamn, like, place within the fucking United States of America.
Mentioned guardrails against firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You can say that if you like.
That is true. Look it up. There's a union now, but
you
you
can look it up to a bunch of liars, but this is a random thing that you're throwing in there, I guess, to just personally attack me. But there is a union.
Yeah,
I'll tell you facts. You want to explain facts? So facts are, yes, IATSE is at Young Turks. It's been at Young Turks for over 5 years.
Did you or did you not reject a card check?
Yeah, I did. And so, in fact, card check, yes, that is the one thing I disagree with in the PRO Act. And yes, you are allowed to disagree with one part of the bill or 5% of a bill, right? And so, in our case,
so we can compromise on
my personal dealings at Young Turks. Okay, fine, we can do it. No, okay, no problem. Okay, but let me address it. Now you got into a weirdo thing that not about policy, not about the Democrats, but about my company. Fine. So since you smeared me, let's explain. So that people come in and go, okay, surprise, we didn't ask you for anything, but we formed a union. I go, guys, great, prove it. They say, oh, we had a secret vote. And then people come up to me, other employees, other employees come up to me and go, they're intimidating us. Well, we didn't ask.
We're getting way off base here.
I know, because you brought us off base with a random attack.
Because you brought up guardrails.
Let me finish, because you're not going to smear me and not let me explain, okay? So then I said, since people felt intimidated, it's okay.
You felt intimidated.
No. How do you know that you weren't there? You're just making stuff up.
Because you're the one that
Okay, so hold on.
You're the one that went to the NLRB.
What the hell is this?
You don't want to get the answer. You just want to filibuster.
Okay, let me answer. So then I said, for God's sake, just do a vote. No problem. You get a union the very next day. They did a vote and it passed. And they got a union immediately. As soon as I was sure that all of our employees were not being intimidated or bullied, they instantly got a union, and we've had a union for 5 years. There's people who are like,
in response to
there are people who are making stuff up 24/7, and they keep telling people like you that we rejected a union when we didn't. We authorized it immediately as soon as we had a fair vote. Okay, now back to what you thought was, I thought we were arguing about. Not really, but okay.
Okay.
Hey, Cenk. Hey, how you? Good. I have a lot of respect for you, but I work.
Hey, it's IRI. It's him. It's our guy. His name is Guy? Or I assume Guy, right? Because of French, but whatever.
Worry about your progressive populism is dangerous. In fact, to me, you kind of sound like a political pickup artist.
Well, to be honest, okay, I say it's our guy. IRI is not really. He's not really our guy. Yeah, I'm really ignorant, but well, I'm just saying this because I recognize who this is. Okay, that's why I said what I said.
Like, just do this one trick and we can fix it all. And to me, it's no different than what MAGA is doing with their faux populism, with the deep state, with undocumented immigrants. Someone to blame. You're just giving people corporate, corrupt Democrats or corporate media as an excuse. And I think you're just taking advantage of disaffected people and not showing them we got to get more involved, we got to invest more, we got to try harder and get good people in there.
So you're saying that don't even try progressive populism. Just go along with the establishment Democrats because they know how to win. That's why they beat Donald Trump twice. Oh, right. They lost to Trump twice. They don't know anything. Their number one thing was, oh, we know how to win. They were liars. They didn't know how to win at all. They got clowned by a guy who's not that bright. Now, number two, oh, we have this giant agenda, $15 minimum wage, all the things that we've talked about throughout the day. Oh, golly gee, we just couldn't pass any of it. Oh, wow, okay. But hey, vote for an establishment Democrat. Don't get tricked by left-wing populists. Brother, do we actually ever try left-wing populism? Yes. Here's the three things we've tried. We've tried establishment Democrats, complete failures. We tried establishment Republicans, complete failures. We tried fake populism under Donald Trump, complete failures. So the only thing we haven't tried is left-wing populism. You say, don't try it. Go back to the establishment Democrats. Go back to the donor class. Are you crazy? Let's try the one thing we didn't try. You say Bernie Sanders wing, economic populism.
You say the American Rescue Plan that took half the kids in poverty out of it, millions of kids who go to bed hungry. Is crumbs is doing nothing? That is a big deal. What about the millions of people?
I mean, it is a big deal. I don't disagree with IRI here. And yeah, Cenk is correct here. Like, that bill was allowed to fucking sunset, and when it was like being brought back to fucking negotiate, you want to know who fucking stopped that stuff? It was fucking Joe Manchin who got in the way of the American Rescue Act being able to be put back in. Like what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I agree with IRI. The American Rescue Act was good fucking policy, right? That's not ridiculous to say. It was good policy. The problem is the fact that basically that shit was allowed to fucking sunset. That's the fucking problem.
People have health insurance now because of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. No, you can call it whatever you want, but the reality is millions of people have health insurance today because of what the Democrats did when they controlled the House, the Senate, and the White House in 2022 on the Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan. I can't stand that you call it crumbs. People don't want their whole lives given to them. They just want a little breathing room like our big President Biden used to say.
So you say you're super happy with the 5 to 10% that the Democrats gave you.
It's not 5 to 10%.
There's two things here. Number one, I don't know what economic class you're in, but the average American is not happy with 5 to 10% change. They want giant change. They want the actual, by the way, the Democratic agenda is great. Our populist plan, the 6 most popular bills in the Democratic agenda, are super popular with independents and even with Republicans, but they never ever do the most popular bills because they're economic bills. And you say that's good enough. But then why not try the entire agenda? Why not go with an economic populist like Bernie Sanders or conduct that's going to give you the whole agenda and actually try. Why give up ahead of time?
Those are great plans, and we should strive for them. But this is a giant country, the third largest country in the world. We have a complicated democracy. We have to do things slowly. I know you don't like that. I know you want to get there, boom, boom, boom. But people do not want to abandon what they're used to. It sounds great on paper. Would you like single-payer healthcare where you save trillions of dollars and you pay less? Of course. But then when you show people how we get there, they're scared, they're nervous, and they have a right-wing media machine on overload that is scaring the hell out of people. That's what we're up against. This is reality, man. Welcome to it.
Well, IRI is not wrong when he fucking says that, but it also, like, yeah, this is not a very good counterpoint because, again, like, it depends on how the fucking question is phrased. Like, we just saw the fucking Mike Flood fucking goddamn town hall where everyone was basically saying, tax the rich, tax the rich. Mike Flood tries to do the thing like, well, what if there's, like, a 25-year-old who's just, like, sitting around doing nothing and just what, do you think he should have free healthcare even though he can work? And everyone was just screaming, yes. Like, this is a really fucking bad counterpoint. Listen, as has been said before, and I would agree with Cenk if he went with this point, how the fuck are all these other countries, like Europe, Canada, and, other, like, supposed Western democracies, able to fucking do all of these, like, really, really good policy? They could do that because they actually invest in, like, good fucking policy and programs to be able to pass that kind of stuff. Like, that's how they're able to do it. Oh, 1,000. Yeah, I 100 fucking percent boy meets many. Like, most 25-year-olds can't get jobs. Actively. Like, listen, I am within that fucking category of a person who can't get a fucking job right now because, again, the fucking job market is just so fucking bad. Yeah, like, you have the degree, you have everything, it doesn't fucking matter. Good luck getting a fucking job. It's a complete fucking shit show because, again, the economy does not work for the working class. It does not work for you. It works for the fucking rich. That's the fucking issue here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can be a valedictorian. You can be a fucking whatever the bumblefuck bullshit. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You can be whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to get a fucking job unless you, I don't know, roll correctly on the fucking goddamn gachapon slot machine. Like, unironically.
So Martin Luther King called this the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. So they tell you, don't worry, we'll do that tiny bit, and then when you elect us again, we'll do another tiny bit, and 200 years later, this is again done.
Millions of kids
Let me
not going to bed hungry.
Let me explain the context of healthcare. They say we're for universal healthcare. Okay, great, let's do Medicare for all. No, wait, way too long. Okay, no problem. Can we do public option? This debate goes all the way back to the Affordable Care Act. They go, oh yeah, sure, we love the public option. Oh golly, gee, we had to take the public option out. There was nothing we could do. Okay, Obama says he had to take it out because the drug companies were opposed to it. First of all, you're admitting that you're giving into the donor class. Then Joe Biden comes in and goes, how can we do public option?
50-50 split Senate with guys like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema.
You know how you do it by trying.
They try every day.
No, but literally,
you're not on the inside.
You're stating a misstatement. Okay, so Joe Biden never introduced a public option. If you never introduce a public option, by definition, you did not try. Second of all, how do you pass? Oh, the Senate split. Okay, you put pressure on. So can pressure work politically? Well, we know because Donald Trump did it to Republicans. Now he did it for his own cause and for his own self-aggrandizement. But anytime a Republican crossed him in the first term, he said we're going to eliminate Joe Wilson in South Carolina. And boom, he was eliminated. Now imagine if you did that.
You want to bully our senators?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
What do you want to do?
So can I explain?
I'll be honest. Yeah, you should bully the fuck out of these, like, stupid do nothing dipshits. 1,000%. This is a really fucking bad point here by fucking IRI.
They sent him there. How do you know that?
Okay, hold on. They represent their donors. So,
BS. It's an excuse.
Oh, yeah,
it's an excuse. It's a boogeyman. It's non-existent.
More billions of dollars given to Joe Manchin.
More people donated to Kamala than outside groups in this election cycle. It's a boogeyman. You're wasting people's time with it.
Nonsense. You know that Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, after they voted against minimum wage increase, went to the National Restaurant Association and collected checks. They literally work for their donors. It is super literal. And what you're saying to people is ignore it. Ignore the donors. Ignore them. It's disrespectful to Joe Manchin, and I intend to disrespect Joe Manchin. I despise Joe Manchin. I despise those corporate Democrats who will never ever deliver for you. Who never even try to deliver for you. You know, here's what you say.
So your claim is that Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. You talked about $15 an hour minimum wage. So how can you explain then that Joe Biden did in fact increase to $15 an hour for federal contractors with an increase again this year to $17.75?
Yeah. So again,
well, that's because that is something within the president's jurisdiction and the executive to fucking be able to do that. Like, they can do that, right? Nationally, they can't. But federally, yeah, they can because that's within the jurisdiction of the fucking, federal government. That's within their purview. That's how that works.
Again, it's a release valve. So why? Hold on. Yes, because it affects a tiny percentage of Americans.
300,000 people.
300,000 out of 330 million people. So that's why if you actually did a federal minimum wage, moved it to $15, that would move $92 billion from corporations to the average American. Okay, so that's what we want. I assume you want it. I want it. All Democrats want it. It polls at around 67%. So what I'm saying to all of you guys is, please expect better of your politicians. So when they give you a 3%, oh hey, look, I did it for 300,000 people. Hey, look, the drug prices, I lowered it on 10 drugs out of 10,000 drugs. Don't say that's good enough. You're shielding. That's a shield so that you don't question them when they say, oh, I'm not going to do it for everyone.
You just said that all Democrats want to raise it to $15 an hour. That has not been your claim this entire time.
No, voters.
Voters,
Yeah.
right? The Democratic politicians do too. If Joe Biden didn't want to do it, why did he increase it?
But
For
wait a
federal
minute. So
contractors,
then,
he didn't have the votes to pass it.
that's exactly what I'm telling you. So what he does is he does it for 5% of people with student debt relief. He did it for 10% of people. He didn't do it for 90%. So in the case
Well,
of the federal
why do you
minimum
do
wage,
it
let me bring it back to you. Federal minimum wage. So he says, oh, progressives, don't worry, it's bare minimum. We're definitely going to do it. So they pass it in the House. They bring it to the Senate. Joe Biden does an interview during the Super Bowl right after he's elected, and he says, oh, we're taking $15 minimum wage out of the bill. So the Republicans didn't take it out of the bill. Joe Biden
No,
took it
well,
out of the bill.
Trump did get rid of it on executive order.
Okay,
so now they don't have it at all.
right.
So you're saying then you're saying that Democrats and Republicans are both equal in terms.
What do they mean by get rid of the... Oh, for the $15 minimum wage for federal contractors? Okay, yeah, I do think that, yeah, fucking Trump would be able to get rid of that by executive order. Okay, that makes sense.
Of economics, right? How is that equal in terms of economics when Joe Biden raised it and then Trump took it away by executive order?
So, but wait a minute. But you're saying that even though he took it out, and then when Bernie put it back in, 8 Democratic senators, including the 2 Delaware senators that are the closest allies of Biden, voted against federal minimum wage being increased to $15. So can you not see that they're literally voting against it? They're literally taking it out of the bill. They're literally tricking you. They don't actually want to pass it. They get your vote by saying, oh, I'm going to do it, and then the minute they get in office, they're like, I was just kidding, take it out of the
What
bill.
evidence do you have that Joe Biden actually did want those senators to vote against it? What evidence?
Two pieces of evidence. Number one, it passed in the House, and I even talked to Democratic congressmen. They assured me, don't worry, it's going to pass in the Senate. It goes to the Senate, and it's out of the bill. Schumer made that decision in conjunction with Joe Biden. So why did Schumer and Biden take it out of the bill? That's my evidence.
So, Cenk, is your claim then
And
that
then secondly, by the way, when they did vote on it, his 2 biggest allies, both the Delaware senators, voted against the $15 minimum wage. That's overwhelming evidence. Do you think that they didn't ask Joe Biden? No, they called Joe Biden, and Joe Biden said vote against it because he was lying.
That's not. It's just not true. But also,
That is literally true. Anybody can look it up.
are you claiming then that all Democrats that take corporate money are against the people? Is that your claim?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
so then why did TYT take $20 million of corporate
Here
money?
we go again with personal
Well, it's
attacks.
not-
Okay, no
it's not
problem.
personal.
No
No, it's
problem.
not
No problem. I want to
personal.
answer it. No
Okay,
problem.
please
Okay,
answer
yeah. So $20 million is an investment.
Okay.
It is not here, take the money you do, and then you do what we tell you to do. Everyone has, if you're building a business, you have to take investment to get to the next level.
Jack, I
Hey,
built
hold
a
on. If
business.
you don't take the investment, you're going to be tiny. So what some leftists say is, no, don't ever build anything. Don't ever take an investment. Don't ever do anything and build a big business. So instead,
Is this person a fucking leftist? Huh? What? I don't think this person's a leftist. Huh? I don't think this person's a leftist, Cenk. That seems like a little bit of a straw man there, buddy.
let the right wing take not only investment money, but direct money, like Dennis Prager did $23 million, and take it from the fracking billionaires, all those guys, and serve those guys. Let the right wing grow and grow and grow. But as soon as there's a successful left wing channel, don't take an investment, don't take any money, just be super small so we can't compete with the right wing. How does that make sense?
I'm pro you taking that investment. I built a business. I understand that. I just think that it's ironic for you then to sit up here and say that everybody that takes corporate money is against the people, because then you would be
No,
against
that
the
doesn't make
people.
that apples and
Okay.
oranges.
Why is it apples and
I can
oranges?
explain
Okay,
perfectly.
please tell me.
So should corporations be allowed to exist? Absolutely.
Okay.
Should corporations be allowed to give money to our politicians so they control our government? Absolutely not. No way. So when a corporation does an investment, that's a perfectly logical and normal thing to do. When a corporation buys a politician and those politicians then vote with them, that is a terrible thing to do. I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism, but I believe in democratic capitalism where democracy checks capitalism. Otherwise, it becomes corporatism. It becomes a monster. But I don't want to defeat all the companies, and I certainly don't want to defeat left-wing media companies. That makes no sense at all. You see how it's apples and oranges? One is a company, another one's a politician.
Okay.
One is normal business, the other one is to influence our government.
Let's talk about.
I don't know. That was just like kind of weird. I don't really know what to say about that. It's kind of stupid, I'll be honest.
The Republicans only care about the rich, and everything else is a mirage.
Sure.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So personally, I don't like absolutes, so I try to stay away from them. When you say the Republicans, are you talking about the party establishment? Are you talking about the politicians? Are you talking about the citizens?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that. I always mean the politicians. Okay, so for all of these, don't take offense if you're a Democrat or a Republican voter. I'm talking about the
Neither
politicians.
one. But so do you think that the Republicans care more about the rich than the Democrats? Do you think the Democratic establishment really doesn't just care about the rich?
So as I said, I think that both parties are similar on economic issues, and they play good cop, bad cop on us. Do the Republicans push the tax cuts? Yes. Is it almost always under Republican administrations? Yes. Do they ever balance the budget? No, never.
So do you think that like the idea that employers who have a lot of money that they provide jobs and that's a way to give back to the poor? Do you buy into any of that concept at all?
No.
I mean, as like entrepreneurs who are going out there, I'm a classroom teacher, so like I go out trying to build entrepreneurs, can employ people and do something like that. Isn't that something that entrepreneurial spirit can be more aligned with the conservatives? Would you say?
Guys, it's a fucking, we got a fucking dumbass talk about, like, dude, rise and grind. If you just rise and grind, then you'll be able to succeed, and make $1 billion or some shit. Dude, rise and grind.
No, I don't agree. I'm an entrepreneur. I run a small business, and so they are always talking about small businesses, and then they immediately.
Is TYT a small business? Is it? How many people are hired there? Whatever.
Change the goalposts to cuts on capital gains. Wait, that has nothing to do with small business. Cuts on estate tax. That's for the super rich. That has nothing to do with small businesses. So rather, they use small business as like a marketing tool. Oh, we're for the average American. We're for small business. Then the actual tax cuts are for the mega rich and for the mega corporations.
What about minimum wage? Like as a business owner,
Yes.
you know like the repercussions of minimum wage. I've been doing dollars in a while. It's been years. I went and it's just a stream. You know, like there is that element, you know, of the minimum wage raising and that leading to more unemployment.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that either.
Okay.
So first of all, everything it requires bounds. So you can't have $100 minimum wage. I get that, right? But having said that, are we anywhere near where we should be on minimum wage? No, we're at $7.25 federally on minimum wage. That is a disaster. And so what that is if you work every single day, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks, no vacation at all, you only make $15,000 at $7.25. No one can live on $15,000. So when you push up minimum wage, what it does is it pushes up all wages, and that is a good thing, not a bad thing. They always tell you, no, give it to the corporations, and then it'll trickle all over you decades later. No, there's an economics called mill out, and what that does is it gives directly to the middle class, and then they spend it more, and it creates a better economy, especially for small businesses like yours and mine, etc. So there's a way to do this. It gives to the average guy first, but the Republicans never do that. They always push for tax cuts for the richest people in the country.
So why do you see? Do you think that the populist element of Trump will allow the working class? They're like, I know he's a Yankee with bullet toilet, but I'm gonna vote for him because he's not like vilifying me. Do you think that they're just being manipulated by Trump?
Yeah, 100%. So look, I don't want people manipulated. That's why I do things like this. I don't want you getting manipulated by politicians on either side. In a time where we have massive deficits and a $38 trillion debt, why are we giving another $1.1 trillion to people making over $500,000? It doesn't make sense.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother.
Nothing to really say there because, like, yeah. Like, Cenk was just, like, I don't know, telling that dude is just a complete fucking dumbass. Because that dude was a fucking dumb. Like, he's like, Dude, I'm a teacher that teaches fucking entrepreneurs or something. Who wants to make a bet that that dude runs like one of those like stupid self-help guru fucking university things that are just like complete fucking scams?
I'm Elijah.
Hey Elijah, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Do Republicans care about the rich? I do think they care about the rich. Coming from somebody that voted for Trump, I do believe that. But I do think that they do support middle-class Americans, especially Trump. I think this big, beautiful bill, people say it's hurting Americans. If you actually read through it, I'm getting a 3% reduction on my yearly income tax. Every single tax bracket is getting some type of reduction on their income tax or a 0% reduction. And that's for the wealthiest class. So that is helping middle class. Also, I know that that's going up. Think about ICE, he's putting more money into ICE. I would argue that stopping immigration actually, or enforcing it even more heavily, helps the middle class worker in America. There's less jobs that are being taken.
There is no evidence to suggest that fucking immigrants coming into America are depreciating Americans' wages. There's just no evidence to suggest that whatsoever. This is just a complete fucking farce. It is a lie.
When you import a bunch of people, like your housing costs are going to go up. It's inflating the people that need houses in the city. It's or apartments or whatever. It is taking jobs for middle class to lower class people like me. It's taking jobs.
Unfortunately, some of your premises are wrong. So
Again, there's just no evidence to this at all. None whatsoever.
when you take the whole bill, including the cuts, Medicaid, and SNAP, and other cuts, the bottom 30% actually wind up paying more than they did before.
I mean,
so
that's
they're
people
literally taking from the bottom 30% and giving it to the top 10%.
I mean, when you talk about SNAP, that's people that are already taking from all of us. So
okay, see, that's your point of view as a Republican. Do you know the least popular part of the bill? The poll just came out. Only 24%, maybe even lower, support cutting SNAP. It is the single most unpopular part of the bill. Overall, Americans do not want you to take from people who desperately need food just to give to people making above $500,000. The second most unpopular part of the bill is the one that gives to people above $500,000. So people don't want
That's
that.
true.
So the bottom 30% are very badly hurt by this bill. What you're talking about is the middle percentile, the middle 10% gets a 0.4% bump. That's again the nickels and dimes that they throw you.
But that's not in
The
the bill.
Republicans
The bill is to reduce
throw nickels and dimes at you, 5 to 10% change in their tax cuts, and the Democrats do their policies throw 5 to 10%
If
change
you don't
at
think
you.
that a nickel and dime can help somebody in a dire situation,
Well, brother,
yes,
why do
that
they have
does
to help the rich even more? Why do they get the biggest tax cuts?
I mean, sure, a nickel and dime can fucking help, but like in this fucking economy, a nickel and dime doesn't fucking do shit. Like, what do you mean a nickel and dime can fucking help? Like what do you mean? Like, dude, I want this motherfucker to sort of like figure out what you can do with like a nickel. This isn't the fucking 50s anymore where like a nickel and dime actually meant something. Like you were able to like buy some fucking food with a nickel and dime back in the fucking 50s, okay? It's not the 50s anymore. This is 2025, okay? With nickel and fucking dime. Dude, if you just get like a dime, maybe you can get like an extra fucking sliver of gum from the convenience store. Yeah, fucking nickel and dime. Get the fuck out of here with this stupid bullshit. Oh, 1000% boy meets mini. Just like some pimbly, wimbly, nimbly, bimbly, fucking barely do anything, cut around the fucking edges kind of bullshit. It's not gonna fucking do anything. Like, again, the American people need radical fucking change.
You know you can do a tax cut without one going to the rich. You can say, hey, I'm capping it at $400,000.
When you own the business and you get a tax cut, you have more money to spend on your employees. I understand that's a
But they
Reaganomics
don't.
principle, but it could be. And when you're a Democrat, you import all these people from third world countries, you're paying them under minimum wage because you see them as the help. Well, yeah, that's gonna
Import people from the third world. And you pay the minimum fucking wage. I wonder what he means by that. Importing. That's a little sus. Little sussy. Little sussy. Little sus.
that's gonna benefit you. But when Republicans stop this and they force people to, that work, like to be citizens, or they want people to be citizens, they're being forced to at least earn
The
minimum wage.
reason why we've never fixed the immigration problem is because corporations want cheaper
I know, that's awful,
labor.
which is why
And we should
this
fix that, but the
helps
Republicans and the Democrats never fix that.
And our border crossings are
brother,
almost
you know
at
the top
0% right now.
the top 0.1% are going to get tens of thousands of dollars in tax breaks.
But
You're not
everyone-
explaining why they need that. They don't need that. Why do you know that oil companies get about $15 to $30 billion in subsidies every year?
Well, I mean, it's not because they get paid less, but it's also because it's easier to abuse fucking migrant labor. So, for example, if a bunch of migrant laborers are sort of going to try to get a fucking union, for example, or threatening to get a union, this is something that Donald Trump did to Polish migrant workers that he fucking had under his retinue. They threatened to fucking unionize him. He said that he's going to fucking sick ICE on them, that sick federal police on them to fucking get them deported. So, yeah, that's like, it's not as simple as just like, oh yeah, dude, like, honestly, if you just do like the forehead thing, and it's just like, you just do the corporate tax cuts, and you fucking don't import the third world. That means wages are going to instantaneously fucking improve. It's like, no, that's fucking stupid. It's like, that's not how that fucking works. Okay, what bullshit are you saying? It's not. The problem isn't fucking immigration. The problem is again, the economy fucking serves a particular subset of fucking people who are incredibly fucking rich, and honestly, they don't need the fucking help. That's the fucking issue.
The Republicans never talk about, we're going to cut waste for you're not going to cut $30 billion to the richest companies in the world.
If you
How
help
come
people
Trump's not
at the
negotiating drug prices?
bottom,
How come Trump is best friends with Big Pharma and he's not touching drug prices
Yes,
at all?
he's matching them to Europe. Yes,
No,
he's
that's
not
that's a perfect example. He said that as an executive order, knowing that he didn't make the same executive order the first time around, and the courts knocked it down. He knows the
So
courts are
it's
going to
not
do
his
it.
fault.
No, it is his fault.
He's
Because
trying to
hold
make
on,
it
let me
easier
explain to you. So then what Ro Khanna did, he's a Democrat, he's really smart. He went and got a Republican co-sponsor, said, let's take the executive order and turn it into a bill. Verbatim, Trump's executive order. All of a sudden, Trump and the Republicans not in favor of the bill. Oh, there you go. It was a trick all along.
Oh, that guy was mad, by the way.
Good. How you doing?
I work in Republican politics. One of the first jobs I took was in a small district, but it was in Lucas County, Ohio, and it was a poor district. And I was representing a Republican. When my candidate would go and we'd be knocking doors together talking about how he wanted to improve their lives, is he an anomaly, or are you only talking about federal?
Yeah, so
like, where do we draw the line here?
So first of all, are there some good guys in politics? Very rare, but yes, I think Bernie Sanders is a good guy. I think Ron Khan is a good guy. By the way, I think Thomas Massey's honest, and he's a Republican, right?
Fair.
I don't agree with his policies, but I think he's honest. But there, again, it's an exception. So if you tell me, no, trust me, the politician I worked with was great. Were you there when he was talking to the donors?
He didn't have any.
Okay, well,
well, that's the problem is when we go down the ladder, where 90% of the elections that take place in this country, they're not at the federal level. They're not with politicians that are receiving hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
Yeah, they get bought for cheaper. They get bought for $5,000.
Or is it possible that they want to step in and govern?
So, brother, I hear what you're saying. You're saying
Nah, this guy's saying he works for fucking Republicans and that Republicans don't want to fucking govern. That's the most delusional fucking nonsense I've ever heard of in my life. Yeah, Republicans want to fucking goddamn govern. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Thomas Massey isn't a fucking populist. He's a LARPer. But yeah, totally. The fucking Republican Party is so very interested in fucking governing. That's the most fucking ludicrous, idiotic bullshit I've ever heard of in my fucking life. No, the Republican Party does everything actively possible in order to make the rails and the sort of ability for government to not be able to act, to constantly freeze up and not function normally, constantly, because the Republican Party has a vested interest in having public services, and public service workers have as hard of a fucking time as possible enacting their fucking ability to be able to pass good fucking policy, because they know that if good public policy is going to be passed, who are the people that are going to fucking suffer the most in terms of like lost profits and whatnot? It's going to be fucking corporations and the fucking rich. So guess what? The fucking Republican Party will do anything fucking possible at every fucking level in order to make it such that, well, simply put, that public services are not able to fucking serve the people. That is as hard as possible in order to be able to have those fucking good services for fucking working people, because they know that corporations and the rich cannot compete in comparison to the fucking state. That's why.
The closer you get to the voters, the more honest they are. That's actually true. Look. So number one.
So you're saying some Republicans do.
Can I just explain?
Yeah,
so if you're doing a small seat as a city council, you actually knock on doors. That's why progressives win a lot of the city council seats, because the election is with such a small number of people. Can I just let me finish? So that way you don't need as much money. You don't need donors. They're more responsive to their actual voters. The larger you get, once you get to a congressional district with 750,000, the donor money decides how much ads you can take and whether you're going to win or not. So they may become completely beholden to the donors. So when you're talking about, hey, really low-level Republicans that yet have not gotten a lot of donor cash, and you say, well, hey, don't worry, they'll stay true, but they never do. When they move up to the next level, they immediately, even if they were true at the lower level, 99% of them, other than Massey, they take the donor money and they do exactly what the donors tell them to do.
It's just a simple misunderstanding or an oversimplification of our system. And
all right, thank you. Hey, good to meet you, brother.
All right, so I'm glad you clarified. All right, you're talking about Republican politicians, and you brought up donor money, and I know that's a big issue with you. But I think that's just not really how it works. I think you have a lot of politicians that start off, as you said, kind of in those lower levels. They do an office here, they do a job here, and then they slowly rise up. And if you can track their views, you see that their views don't actually really change a whole lot over time. When the donor money comes in, it's not like they suddenly change their views and they're a completely new person. They've had the views that they've had for a very, very long time. So how can you sit here, Shane, and look in your crystal?
Yeah, that's not true. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Fucking politicians will adopt any particular position if it's popular to do so at the fucking moment. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Ball and say, I know I can look into the souls of Republicans and say, well, they're not actually genuine in some of these proposals.
Yeah. So let's take an example of a person who doesn't have a soul, Ted Cruz.
You know that?
Yeah, okay. I'm kidding. Okay, I think. Okay, so listen, he says to Tucker Carlson recently, yes, I'm taking millions from AIPAC, but I just happen to have that position. I had it earlier. I mean, I know that AIPAC would give me millions of dollars if I say, let's give billions back from the American taxpayer to AIPAC. Let's make sure we support all their wars. Let's fight all their wars for them. Oh, look at that. I happen to agree with my donors. Hey, listen, when I started out, I really wanted to give $30 billion of subsidies to oil companies, and I still want to give $30 billion.
How do you know Ted Cruz lying? How do you know that?
Okay, but even in that scenario, think about it, brother.
No.
Hold on, I'm answering your question. Okay. You're saying, okay, so in the hypothetical where we have, first of all, in the real world, there's 230 million people in the country, right? So you're saying maybe like the oil subsidy loving guys or all Republicans to begin with, and the Republicans all love oil subsidies, so it's just organic. No, brother, they're finding just a handful of people in the country that'll raise their hand and go, yes, I will do whatever corporate donors want, I will do whatever the rich want. And they go, there's a guy who agrees with me. Let's give him money. Let's give him 5,000 in the beginning, then 50,000 later, then 500,000 later. String them along. What is the question?
So how do you know that Ted Cruz is being disingenuous about his views on Israel?
That's the easiest question in the world.
It's so easy to answer for me.
Okay, so you're saying my hypothesis is Ted Cruz and the politicians take millions of dollars from donors and do exactly as they're ordered. And how do I know that? Because their voting record matches with their donors perfectly. You're saying, but maybe there's a hypothetical 1 to 2% chance that Ted Cruz just was born out of the womb loving Israel's wars. And he's like, I can't wait to give money to Israel. Whereas all of it, what a coincidence. AIPAC is giving me millions of dollars.
I actually in politics try to assume good intentions on both sides. Well, sure, you can.
Yeah, that's a mistake. You should never assume good intentions of people in fucking politics. What the fuck are you doing, my dude? I think I remember this Micah guy. I think he also debated Sam Cedar, and he was just like a complete fucking dumbass. So I guess it checks out that this dude's a fucking idiot.
You can say that's a mistake, but I also try to make claims with evidence. And all you've said is, oh, he gets all this money from AIPAC, therefore he's corrupt.
So
as opposed to, how do you know that Ted Cruz did not have these views before, and that AIPAC wanted to support him because of the views he already had?
So your thesis is that all the Republicans that take hundreds. Hold on. Yeah, your thesis is all of these Republicans take hundreds of millions of dollars from donors. They do exactly what the donors say, but they already believed in all of the things that the donors wanted earlier. So it's just a happy coincidence.
No, it makes perfect sense.
The media totally agrees with you.
It makes perfect sense in my mind that these organizations would only be giving money to people that they know support the cause. That's not a crazy, wild thing to think. No, can you please answer my question?
So
what evidence do you have?
So you're saying I don't have evidence of Ted? I can't read Ted Cruz's mind.
Yes,
okay, so brother, by your thesis, you can't read Joe Biden's mind. You can't read Kamala Harris's mind. So they're all innocent. They're all angels.
I've never said
isn't affecting any of them.
Yes,
because I can't read their mind. I can read their voting record. I can read their voting record. I can read their donations.
No evidence.
Secrets tells you. You sound exactly like major media. These politicians are honorable.
You're operating based off feelings alone.
The donors that gave hundreds of millions of dollars.
All right.
Hey, Cenk, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So you are claiming that Republicans only care about the rich.
No, the dumbass is back. Whatever we're gonna do. Yeah, apparently that's supposed to be a fucking good thing. Yeah, whatever. It's just so stupid.
But Elon Musk lost money while they were in office. And then on top of it, you shake your head no. On top of it, why would you say that when currently we have, I know you keep saying it's some pressure valve, but we have them actually fighting for working class people by giving them less taxes on tips, less tax on overtime?
Yeah, so first of all, Donald Trump has made a tremendous amount of money, and his family has. So right after he left office the first time, his son-in-law got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis, and he was in charge of our policy towards Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. That's a disaster. That's Hunter Biden on steroids. So in this time around, he has a meme coin, he's got World Liberty Financial, people are pouring money in. One guy put in $75 million, and then look at that, he stopped an investigation from the SEC about that guy.
Let's talk about how he's helping middle class people.
At least three white-collar criminals who donated either to his campaign or to his meme coin. And then he got a $400 million jet from Qatar.
Let's talk about how he's helping middle class people.
Okay,
so what if Democrats...
ignoring all the money from that? And I'm answering your question. Elon Musk, by the way, lost hundreds of billions of dollars
and
from
his Tesla
Golden
stock went down dramatically.
Well, that's his fault.
He lost money is what you're saying.
No. But
Yeah, Elon's Tesla stock went down because of the fact that he did a fucking Nazi salute, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, Elon Musk's stock went down. That means he's trying to do good things for the American people. No. That's not the reason why. It's because he was doing fucking stuff that everyone fucking hated, and he became a fucking toxic brand, generally speaking, that no one wanted to fucking associate with. What the fuck are you talking about?
Remember, why did Musk and Trump get into a fight? Because Trump did not put in the electric vehicle mandate and the subsidy that Elon wanted.
Sure. Elon lost money.
So Elon gave $300 million, and he's like, now I want that subsidy. That's going to get me billions back. Now I want Golden Dome. That's going to get me hundreds of billions of dollars back. And Trump said, I'm going to give you Golden Dome, but I'm not going to give you the subsidy.
Democrats done to help the middle class with taxes.
That was a really smart marketing strategy by Donald Trump, and part of the reason that he won the election. So I remember we talked to somebody on the Young Turks, and he was down in Western Virginia, and he said, listen, Hillary Clinton tells us that all of our jobs are going to be gone. Donald Trump comes in and lies and tells us that he's going to bring back the jobs. But he's at least got the decency to lie to us.
Is it a lie, or is it what he's trying to do? He hasn't done it.
So 50%.
What have Democrats done to help me?
To be fair to the Democrats, as someone earlier said, in this case, they would at least protect Medicaid and SNAP cuts. Okay, so that goes to the bottom 30%.
It's okay to give free stuff, but not give working people reduction in taxes.
It's okay to give the rich tons of free tax cuts, tons of subsidies, but when you give it to someone who's starving, oh no, that's a real problem.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said it's okay that you're giving them free stuff, but it's not okay to help
Wait,
me.
that is exactly what you're having a fucking problem with there, Bo. Like you're having a problem with people, broadly speaking, well, poor people, being able to have like participation in fucking society. That I actually no, I do think you have a problem with that. I'll be quite honest.
So, brother, then answer this for me. Then why don't they only propose a tax cuts for the middle class? Why don't they say, hey, we're not going to cut from the poor and we're not going to give to the rich. We're only going to do it for the middle class. Why don't they ever do that?
From what I understand, they're not cutting out the good parts of Medicaid. They're only cutting out the corruption and fraud. So you laugh at that. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
You cut out fraud from Medicaid?
That is not what this is at all.
What do you mean it's not? There's tons of fraud in it.
No, here's the trick, okay? There's tons of fraud at the Pentagon.
You're right.
We can agree on that. Fraud at the Pentagon. And then added to the fraud.
It's not only Republicans helping the rich.
Here's what happened on Medicaid, okay? They say, okay, we need a work requirement, so we're going to cut 10 million people off of Medicaid. But Medicaid is for poor people. So if
they've been on it for 20 and 30 years.
They get a job. They actually,
it's not a permanent thing.
Hold on, they make enough money to get out of Medicaid.
They don't. They stay on it forever.
It's a trick that it eviscerates Medicaid.
But they haven't. There are people that stay on it for 10 years.
Yeah, this dude's like, I don't know. I guess this guy would make a pretty good fucking Republican politician because he's just saying all the fucking dumb fuck stooge talking points. I guess he would actually be pretty good at that. I don't know, guys.
You know that if you need Medicaid and you don't have healthcare through a job and your kid gets cancer, we're going to let them die. Why? Because the top 1%. It's going to happen, brother.
Horrible things happen every day.
According to estimates, 70,000 people are going to die.
Horrible things happen every day. What the fuck do you mean? There's an active fucking choice that's being made there. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh yeah, bad things just fucking happen. No, there are choices that are being made by specific people in fucking power. Exactly. This motherfucker just wants to kick the fucking ladder from under him. Standard fucking conservative, like, I don't know, Gen X fucking goddamn fucking behavior from this motherfucker right here.
Do you believe everything is here?
Tax cuts for the rich just need to be larger and larger. 1.1 trillion in tax
you're okay with fraud as long as people
I'm not okay with it, but they're not cutting fraud. They're cutting the entire Medicaid.
Hey,
all right.
Yeah, fuck that, Bo guy.
Media and money control all of politics.
Media and money control all of politics. What the fuck does he mean by media exactly? Like, what? Oh, so this guy existing proves Cenk wrong. I thought Republican voters agreed with us, Cenk. They're a bunch of lumpen pro cucks. Exactly. Oh, that's a fantastic point there, Alex. 1000%. Cenk has been kind of trying to do the whole fucking stupid song and dance, talked about like, oh wait, no, Republicans actually totally agree with us. They totally agree with us. In fact, this is the exact same thing that he had an argument with Kyle Kalinske about, right? Their whole giant fucking spat where Kyle Kalinske was talking about like, dude, what are you talking about? Republican voters do not fucking agree with like most of us. And Cenk was like trying to like do everything possible to try to convince Kyle that like, no, they actually do fucking agree with us on like a lot of the fucking goddamn policies and all this stuff, when that's not the fucking case. Republican voters do not fucking agree with that. A lot of them are like dipshit fucking lumpen proles, right? Like quite literally, and they don't know any fucking better. Like unironically, they're just like stupid, idiotic fucking morons. I don't think that's like ridiculous or fucking hyperbolic to say, but to say that basically all of them fucking agree with a lot of the positions of the fucking left is ludicrous. No, the fuck they do not. There's a reason why they are fucking conservatives. And they think that they're all unironically like temporary embarrassed millionaires. Like unironically. Like there are Republicans who fucking think like that stuff. It's so fucking stupid, dude.
I see you again.
Good to see you.
Okay, so we disagree on the framing, we might not disagree on the substance. So when you say they control all of politics, I feel like that breeds a lot of cynicism, which is kind of my issue with populism. Is you tell these people like it's hopeless, corporations, media control all of it. What's kind of implied in your premise, like media, for example, media is effective because it influences the people who actually vote and have a lot of power. Same thing with super PACs; they're spending advertising for all the time. So
I already do not like the premise of what's being said here. Is that Cenk inspires fucking cynicism? Again. In what way is exactly sort of fucking Cenk inspiring cynicism by saying that media and fucking money control all of politics, when that's just kind of a fact that is kind of true? It's very fucking weird. Oh yeah, the lumpen proles live life as if everyone is their competition, no class solidarity. Exactly, Boy Meets Mini.
I think when you paint this narrative that they control all of it, disproportionate, yes, a lot of initiative, yes, we agree, campaign finance reform, yes. I feel like a lot of people, especially my generation, just check out of politics. Like the corporations are going to do what they want to do, the media's going to do what they want to do. I'm just going to scroll on TikTok. And I feel like it's very damaging to our society.
Yeah. So number one, I'm a huge believer in hope. So I would never say don't get involved in politics. In fact, that's why I started Justice Democrats to bring progressives in Congress. I started Wolf Pack to take money out of politics, and Rebellion Pack is saying no, get involved. And that 2028 primary on the Democratic side is just maybe the most important election of our lifetimes. We have to pick a populist so that we'll actually deliver for the American people. So if you deliver for the American people, if you stop lying to them and say you're going to do things and then never do it, if you actually do those things that are very, very popular, then you'll re-energize the entire voting
So when you
base.
say we need to pick a populist, is your definition of populism just like when good things happen, that's populism? Like,
No.
is it conceivable?
I wonder what like has I assume TYT has probably talked quite a bit about Zoran Mamdani. Yeah, also yeah, Rebellion Pack is not gonna fucking pull that shit off, but you know, whatever. But it better give it the old college try, right? Like whatever. That's a whole other fucking point. Like I assume they've been sort of talking about the they've been talking about like Zoran Mamdani. Like Zoran Mamdani is actually someone who energizes fucking energy within the fucking Democratic Party, right? Like that's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. He actually like inspires people within the fucking party to be able to, I don't know, do better, for lack of a better term. I'm trying to think of like what the correct term here is to sort of actually be populist and whatnot. But I like the funny thing about with the PAC stuff, to be honest, and this is like a concept that I've talked about before. A lot of the issues, broadly speaking, with for example, doing PACs in order to try to fight like money in politics and stuff like that is it's never really going to be effective because the sort of like structures and annals of Congress make it such that it is not going to be inherently fucking effective, right? Like the issue is fundamentally the structure of fucking Congress. It's a more root fundamental fucking issue here. The problem is, like, yeah, it's good and all that Cenk is saying all this stuff about, like, I don't know, getting money out of politics and doing, like, all this fucking stuff, blah, 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 blah. The issue, broadly speaking, is the fact that, well, there is money in politics. This fundamental fucking system that exists within American politics is the system that fucking exists fundamentally in fucking politics. That's the real fucking issue, and I feel like Cenk would not fucking disagree with that one. I would be quite honest, because he's saying like, yeah, I'm doing everything to like fight like corporate Democrats and all that stuff to try to get money out of politics, and like one PAC doing that shit is not going to be enough. It has to be a bottom up sort of effort, a class effort from everybody involved, if you want to be able to try to get money out of fucking politics. Like, because I don't think it's going to happen with just one fucking PAC that's, like, fighting forward with it, right? And, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's like the popularity of like Citizens United or something, right? Like stuff like that. Like not policy, but like court rulings like that. How many Americans know about like a lot of the plights and issues of money in politics? Like, they'll agree that money in politics is the fucking problem, right? They can understand that. The problem is do they know a lot of, like, the law and precedent that has made it such that money in politics is as pervasive as it is? That I'm not as certain about, because you have to be a lot more plugged in order to be able to sort of, like, know about that stuff, right? And I don't, like, again, I don't really, like, disagree with Cenk. Like, I do think, like, a lot of, like, that stuff needs to be fucking changed, right? He's correct here. The problem is like, how is that going to be fucking done? Which is, like, kind of annoying and stupid to fucking say, but unfortunately, like, we kind of live in a fucking position where a lot of policy, a lot of, like, good policy very often comes down to, like, okay, like, it's great that you're fucking saying this and everything. Good, it's good, and all of that. How is it going to be done? Because we all know about like what Cenk is doing here specifically with a lot of the fucking class reductionist shit. I'm going to have like disagreements with a lot of the stuff that he has, especially on like fucking doing the whole like stupid conflationary bit like DEI he seemingly is doing. That it's going to be like, it's not as just easy as like, oh, forehead, like, you know, if you just get the like to do the thing, you get the thing out of politics, that means it's going to fix everything. It's like, well, it's not that really simple, right? And you need like a very bottom-up approach if you want to be able to challenge a lot of these fundamental systems of power. Does it, broadly speaking, kind of make sense what I'm sort of saying here? Like, it's not as simple as just like pointing at the thing and saying like, oh, that's the thing that you have to take care of. If you take care of the thing, that means everything's going to be okay. Well, it's unfortunately, we kind of live in a society in a day and age of like education, broadly speaking, where it's not as simple as just like pointing out to the fucking thing. Like, there's so many fucking factors and problems that have led to the sort of like society that we are currently fucking living in. Like, it's not as simple as just like forehead, do the thing, and then like the thing will be fixed. It's like, well, you know, unfortunately, it's going to be a little more fucking complicated than that.
For there to be a candidate who is a great president, for example, but they're not necessarily a populist, or is that like necessity?
So all populism means is serving the average guys as opposed to serving the corporate donors. So I'll give you no, it's not a marketing technique. It's very no. You're asking if it's vague or specific, and it couldn't be more specific. There's literally a populist plank on tyt.com, and that's the core of what our candidates run on Rebellion PAC. And those are 6 policies: money out of politics, anti-war, lower drug prices by negotiating at Medicare. By the way, lower housing prices by banning private equity from buying residential real estate. They're robbing us of our wealth creation in this country. That's going to destroy the middle class. So paid family leave, again, these are very easy to pass. If you say you can't pass at 84%, then you can't pass anything. And yes, higher wages.
We don't pass things through public opinion polls. You need people to get involved on a very granular level sometimes. Like, for example, paid family leave. There's different ways to fund that. There's different amounts that can cover different amounts of months. I agree, we need it. It's a very good policy. If you advocate for it properly, it will win. But this goes back to my initial problem.
Why did they never do that? Why did the Democrats never fight for a bill at 84%?
I think the Democrats right now are extremely spineless. We don't disagree.
Okay, all right, good. But you know why they're spineless? Because their donors told them to be spineless.
Because they're very risk averse. That's the actual problem.
No, I think
that one I don't like. Again, like that's like a thing that I'm gonna have problems like agreeing with Cenk. Like, do the fucking donor class tell the fucking Democratic Party, like Democratic politicians, to be fucking spineless? I don't think so. I think they probably tell them to support a certain policy because they're gonna get a fucking bunch of money for it, right? I don't think it's as simple as just saying like, oh, you just have to be fucking spineless because I'm telling you to be spineless. It's like I don't think, like, again, like the same point that I've been constantly reiterating, I think, seemingly every single time when I'm talking about this, is Cenk seems to be just very, very, very reductive.
The real problem is when you're at the top, you don't want anything to change. You want the status quo to remain the same. That is why mainstream media and establishment Democrats and Republicans say civility is the most important thing. Because if you're civil, you don't rock the boat. Why don't they want you to rock the boat? Because it's their boat. Okay.
Where's the oversimplification?
It is not an oversimplification. But I can show you the donors and results every single time. You know that in legislation on the Young Turks, we predict ahead of time what's going to happen. We have nearly 100% track record. You know why? Not because we're geniuses, but because it's super easy. Look at where most of the money is, and that side wins 100% of the time.
Legislation that's like very paradigm changing is just super easy. Is that your position?
So things like paid family leave, but again, anything that falls over 70%.
That's complicated, right?
No, I don't think it's complicated at all.
Where's the funding coming from? How many months are covered?
Yeah, I get it. There's different issues you have to adjudicate.
Well, I mean, like, again, there was already the American Rescue Act that took care of that, cut child poverty in 50%, but that bill was allowed to sunset because of like dumbasses like Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Like, they're the ones who allowed those bills to fucking sunset. Yeah, you can very easily pass those kinds of bills. You can. Cenk's not lying when he says stuff like that.
Negotiation
Let me
happens
answer this. Okay. So the earlier guy asked, would I bully the politicians? Absolutely. Why? Because I want to bully them and it makes me feel good. No, it's for a purpose. Although it's kind of fun. Okay, but it's for a purpose, brother. If you're voting against 84% of Americans, you're a traitor. You're a traitor to your voters. So why are you? I'm asking a question of them. Why are you voting against 84% of the voters? If you're a Democrat, you're voting against 90% of your voters. If you're a Republican, you're voting against 74% of your voters. I know why you're voting against them because the donors told you vote against the American people. It is that simple. But you want to defend politicians for no reason. They're not your friends. They're not your allies.
It's not just a piece of paper that says paid family leave. There's stuff that goes into it. It's complicated. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that dude there, Boy Meets Smitty. Maybe it's like he's like a wannabe Brahmanite, and that's why he's like saying the things that he's saying or something. So stupid.
All right, good to meet you, brother. I like your shirt.
Thank you, people over politics. So I do agree with you that money has a control over politics. We see super PAC spending, we see Mitch McConnell and longtime figures, 40 years in politics, and I'm pretty sure everyone's just sick of it. I don't agree with on the media half, and I kind of want to explain why. A lot of people don't tune into mainstream media anymore, and I'm sure you know this. You run one of the biggest progressive channels on YouTube, but it's hard to see media having this big influence when so many people are tapped out. So I kind of wanted to understand why you think it's.
They spent $16 billion at a minimum in this last election cycle. Where did most of that money go? It went to mainstream media. Okay, so mainstream media has 16 billion reasons to make sure you don't find out that the donor money is corrupted. Okay, so now what is the effect of that? So when you see in the 2016 race, for example, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, right? Now Donald Trump eventually got about $5 billion in free media. And now to be fair to him, he did a lot of interviews and Hillary decided not to do a lot of interviews. But a part of that was the media's decision. You know how much before the primaries ended, Trump had already gotten $2 billion in free media, right? Do you know how much Bernie Sanders had gotten? $28 million. About what? I think 1% of what Trump had gotten. Because mainstream media thinks that Bernie Sanders would actually do change, and they don't want change. They're all at the top. Almost all the anchors are millionaires, and the last thing they want is a left-wing populist who's actually going to make a difference. Oh, fake populists like Trump, no problem. Send in the clowns. Establishment Democrats and Republicans, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, both raised $1 billion from corporate donors and have done exactly what the corporate donors want. They're like, that's great. Let's pump them up. But whenever you got a real challenge to power, mainstream media attacks.
Speaking on the terms of left-wing media, if you consider your networks like, I guess MSNBC, if we're going to classify that as left, CNN kinda. I don't think these are the type of networks that would completely destroy and eviscerate a liberal candidate. Think about someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Think about somebody like Jamie Raskin. If they were going to be in a primary, I don't think that you're going to see a whole smorgasbord just go after them right now. I'm pretty sure you would have seen CNN or MSNBC's coverage tilt favorably towards them compared to someone like Donald Trump if they would have been nominated in the election.
That's actually not true. MSNBC is the biggest opponent of progressive populists in the Democratic Party. Whenever, like when Bernie was about to win after he won the first 3 states in 2020, then they sent out Chuck Todd, Chris Matthews, and others to say if Bernie wins, he's a communist that'll start executions in Central Park. He said, that's what Chris Matthews said. Chuck Todd talked about his followers being brown shirts. I said in the beginning of that campaign, the people in power will be so opposed to Bernie that by the end they'll call him anti-Semitic, and they called him anti-Semitic. Okay, even though he's Jewish. So on AOC, no one covered her in mainstream media before her historic primary win. We covered her 34 times. So the reason for that is because yes, some parts of media now are better. To your original point, independent media is better for all its problems and warts and etc. It's at least opening up the discussion to more free thought and getting people thinking. But mainstream media has you inside these tiny guardrails, and the minute you step outside of it, and populist left always steps out of it and says, why don't we deliver for the American people? I'll give you one last example. Those guys attack. So when Biden went to do student debt relief, Stephanie ruled in. So Fox News did segments on it against it, CNN did segments against it, and then Stephanie ruled on MSNBC did a segment against it because that's an economic issue. The minute it's an economic issue, they all circle the wagons and they play good cop bad cop, and they all say no. Thank you, brother.
Not really much to disagree with there.
Nice to meet you.
So I think I really want to focus a lot on the media part with you, just because mainly for the fact that I think we can all unbiasedly agree that, let's be honest, Trump during his whole election campaign, it was very anti-Trump, very pro-Democrat, and how he was the absolute just most terrible thing that could happen if he gets voted in as basically a threat to our democracy. And so when it comes to that and everything, let's be honest, very high percentage was very negative towards him. How can you explain the outcome if the media controls everything when it comes to elections and politics?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and so I want to get asked often. So when you talk about money in politics, it controls almost all the races, but the ones that are the smallest, it controls the most, because there's almost no media coverage of a Montana congressional race. So whoever has more money wins. In fact, in congressional races, whoever has more money wins 95% of the time. But the one giant exception is presidential races, because there's so much free media in presidential races, and everyone is paying attention. So you can actually go the route of going to media yourself and making your own argument. That's why I thought Trump would win in 2016. That's why I was really worried about it in 2024, because Democrats are become like corporate talking point robots, the establishment Democratic politicians. So they don't like to engage with Joe Rogan or these other folks. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're giving away billions of dollars in free media. Trump had the right strategy. But at the end of the day, because he was all over media and he got billions of dollars in extra media coverage, that is part of the reason why he won.
While media has influence and everything else, it still comes down to the individuals who vote. So whenever it comes down to that, then how can you explain they still have control, even though at the end of the day, it's still the individual's right and the individual's ability to go vote? And
because how does anything ever get into your head? So like when you go to a voting booth, you see names, right? But if you never saw that person and you never heard their name because they didn't have enough money for ads and the media didn't cover it, that person has no chance of winning. It's like there's a mythology in mainstream media that two people go into an octagon and then people decide which one is better, right? That's not how it actually works.
To be able to see all these things.
She got insta-voted out, Jesus. I mean, she wasn't really saying anything of interest or import.
Yeah, so I think money doesn't necessarily have a mind, so I'd like to kind of take it to who's making the decisions on how to allocate the capital. And so does party loyalty here play at all, right? Like, at the end of the day, you're going to have politicians who can influence where that capital is coming from, and if you're towing the party line saying what they want you to say, that to me seems more impactful than the ability to go and find donors yourself to raise a significant capital to win a race.
So let me give you a couple examples. So Ted Cruz got $13 million from the Mercer family when he was running for president in 2016. If you remember, Donald Trump insulted his wife, so at the Republican National Convention, Ted Cruz did not endorse him. So, but right afterwards, he changed his mind and started phone backing for Donald Trump. What happened in between? What happened in between is after his speech, he went up to the suites that the Mercer family had at the convention, and they slammed the door in his face. And they said, we now have a new guy that we're picking. It's like the Hunger Games. So the sponsors decided that they were going to go with Donald Trump now. So Ted Cruz, realizing I'm going to lose my donor money if I don't do as I'm told, said, I'm so sorry. And then he grabbed the phone and was like, oh yeah, Donald Trump is the best. Forget about my wife. Who cares about her? Why? Because he's going to seek the donor money. And but you can do it on both sides. Look, we have Mo Brooks, for example, is a Republican who was running for Senate in Alabama, and he gave a speech where he said, look, in order to become a chairman of a committee, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you have to raise $1 million, but you cannot raise it from John and Jane Doe. So you raise it from the industry you're supposed to be regulating, with the implicit promise that you do not regulate them and you give them whatever you want. So in order to be a committee chairman, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you must take what is a campaign contribution, but really a bribe from that industry and make sure you protect that.
I think it's a cynical view that the
yes, it is, and it's true.
Again, I think what we're
Yeah,
talking
It is cynical, yeah, but it is
political
true.
structure and government structure just enable, right? Like, I don't think like a claim around Republicans only caring about the poor, or not caring about the poor, only caring about the rich. Are they just acknowledging the practical reality of in order to facilitate a successful race, you have to raise capital, so you have to please donors. So they're not
So when
evil.
do we
They're
ever
not
get pleased? Like, they don't need to be evil. They don't need to be evil. They can just be like, hey, I want status. I want to be a senator. So I'm going to take 13 million here, 10 million there, etc. And then I'm going to serve the donors. Yeah, you can say it's necessary, but that's why the system sucks. That's why we need to change it and get money out of politics. If you get money out of politics, then they have to serve the voters and be our representatives instead of the representatives of the donors.
In terms of the solutions here, the money will always play a role in politics. Is there a practical reality where you think money is not going to play a
Yes.
role
So
in?
between 1938 and 1978, bribery was illegal. And in that 40 years, we built the greatest middle class the world has ever seen. Was our system perfect? No. But productivity went way up, and so did
You're
wages.
assuming money
In
has to pay
1978, the
tax.
Supreme
It
Court
doesn't have to come from bribery.
Yeah, it can't pay contributions.
What I'm
when
saying
they're coming
is,
from
if you're
corporate donors,
pissing
all
off
bribe.
rich donors, they can still pour money into media campaigns to influence the outcomes of the elections. So, like money, practically speaking, I just don't see how you ever get to a point where money is not at all influential in a political race.
Yeah, so don't give up hope. So can you do it? Of course you can, because we had it between 38 and 78. We did, and it led to the greatest middle class. It led
To
to the
what
best
degree
economy.
did social
You know what
media in
happened?
that period of time?
So
Like,
no,
you're
but
just-
social
you're
media is
taking
better than
historical-
mainstream
but
media.
you're taking historical.
I mean, this is like, did he say social media is better than mainstream media? What the fuck are you talking about? No, the fuck it isn't. Like, social media will put out such a deluge of just like complete utter fucking nonsense. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Cenk? What? I like. Okay, to the idea that fucking like mainstream media and like social media, this like sort of like strange dichotomy is like so fucking weird to me, dude. Like what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean? Like, are we saying like a lot of the shit on like Twitter is like accurate sort of like portrayal of like what the fuck is going on in terms of the news? Like, no. Like what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Period where today,
So you're saying just give up? Don't even try to take
no,
money
I'm
out.
saying there are things that you can make progress on today, but I'm saying practically
I think
speaking,
you can get a constitutional amendment. You know why I think you can get a constitutional amendment to get money out of
But
politics? Because 93% of Americans believe that politicians represent their
what does that
donors
mean?
and not their voters. All right, thank you.
No.
Hey there.
We've had a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you look familiar.
So on the local level, right? LA City Council could upzone everything. Let construction companies, property management companies come in, wholesale develop, build massive apartment buildings, run these properties, right? LA City Council has not done that. Are you saying development companies,
No,
real
we're
estate
getting
companies,
some
property
Abunda
management
shit.
companies are not moneyed interests?
No, that's amazing that you picked that example. There's two industries that are the most impactful on local and state races. It's utility companies and real estate companies. So real estate companies totally own New York and California, even though they're Democratic. So Andrew Cuomo, when he was governor, passed a whole bunch of things. There were tax breaks for real estate companies, and it didn't help the average person at all. In California, we raised $24 billion to help the homeless, and homelessness went up 53%. Why? Because they do things like, oh no, we're going to have more affordable housing, and then they build high rises that are for super rich people, and then you don't get the affordable housing, and homelessness goes up.
They don't build, because if you live on a block of single family housing, okay, and city council makes it so that next to your house, some company could come in, destroy it, build a huge apartment complex on your block, people hate it. NIMBYism is real. No one wants that on their block, and city council doesn't want to freak out their voters. Like, there's this thing called
We got a bunda agenda. We're getting a bunda is here. It's here. We got an abunda guy. No, the main problem with fucking the abundance agenda is the fact that it does not fucking, again, and Cenk is correct here, it does not fundamentally challenge the sort of it doesn't fundamentally challenge the sort of the main annals of power that take control of or rather not take control but have control within fucking local political scenes. That's the main fucking issue there. It's not just like, you know, as simple as just like, oh yeah, dude, you know, if I just do like the forehead good thing, you know, that means I'll totally be able to sort of have like you know, a bunch of like really good fucking housing policy and stuff like that. No. The main people who generally speaking get in the way of like a lot of like housing fucking development are the fucking real estate fucking developers, because again, for them, they will buy plots of land, right? They'll buy plots of land with the assured guarantees they're going to be able to make a fucking return on their investment. I've talked about this before. The main issue here is the fact that stuff with inelastic demand, such as housing, has the profit motive and incentive structure behind it. That's the main fucking problem. It is the fucking profit motive. Period. End of story. Stuff with inelastic demand should not be dictated by the fucking profit motive. It should be dictated by, well, it should be fairly obvious, stuff that is conducive to being able to get housing for fucking people. Not just like, oh yeah, dude, can I make like a lot of money being able to like buy this fucking high-rise apartment or whatever the fuck? It's like, no. That's not how that fucking works. You want like good fucking housing. You want like people to be able to have like a house and stuff like that. You get rid of the fucking profit motive that is incentivized within housing.
like politics, where they don't want to massively upset people, so they don't rock the boat. And, the homeowners aren't getting any money. Like real estate developers are not the little guy, and they're not getting their way.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you pick that example because I actually have personal experience with that through someone that works at TYT. They ran for city council. As I said earlier, it's easier for progressives to win at city council level because it's a smaller group of people and you can knock on doors, and that's what she did. So that's why sometimes the city councils are better, certainly better than the national guys, etc. But when her experience was when she went in, the real estate interests were massively powerful. She fought against them. It was in the middle of LA, and eventually they cared so much about getting her out that they started funding someone to make sure she's removed from the city council. Real estate has massive
But what's the money on the other side of not building?
So no, there is no. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why real estate almost always wins. You're saying no. Sometimes at the local level, real estate interests don't win. Yes, because very rarely, because it's such smaller percentage of people voting, you can get progressives in there that block that because they're not representing their own interests. But even in places like LA, they eventually get overwhelmed by the money that real estate guys bring in, and that's I literally have personal experience with what happened in LA.
I want to move to media. Don't you think, especially with alternative media, people, creators like chase the audience and they try to be as outrageous as possible to like because I don't know, outrage sells and audience capture is a huge thing. So they're running around chasing audiences. It's not money coming up top down. It's like bottom up.
No, I don't disagree with this.
Disagreement.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, brother. So there's a giant distinction between mainstream media and now online and independent media. So as I said earlier, online and independent media has at least got people thinking. It's a wide range of opinions, and I greatly prefer it. Mainstream media does not care, and it doesn't do the thing you're talking about. What it does is it says no, Joe Manchin is a moderate, Mitch McConnell oftentimes is considered a moderate, etc. That's nonsense. They do nothing but lies to get you to vote for corporate politicians on the Democratic side.
You think alternative media is helping our politics? You think
alternative media is much better than mainstream media? Mainstream media says no. I'm sorry that I keep going back to it because it's such an obvious and stark case. On Paid Family Leave, the 6.
I mean, it like okay, I don't disagree 100% with Cenk here, but it really fucking depends on who is fucking saying the particular things that they're saying, right? Like. If it's like right-wing alternative media, no, it actively makes everything worse. But like, I don't know, is Cenk trying to do like the whole like song and dance, be like saying like, well, no, there's actually like some good things the populists, and this is where I'm gonna fucking disagree with them. Like, oh, there's actually like some good suggestions that are being told here by the fucking populist right. In just like the populist left. It's like, no, there isn't. There's like hardly any rapport that you can have with these like stupid charlatans and freaks. Because the thing with a lot of right-leaning media personalities is that a lot of them are doing this because they are just fucking charlatans. They don't fucking believe in anything. They just want to do everything possible in order to make a fucking buck. That's it.
16% they call moderates, like Manchin and the Republicans that block it. The 84% that want it, they go, oh, radicals. No, progressives like Bernie Sanders are radicals.
But they're total liars. Who's still watching CNN to get their political opinions?
A lot of people, older voters, over 70-year-olds.
But
it's mostly older people.
There's so many people not paying attention to those channels anymore.
And it's a great thing. That's why after the Trump election, I said, at least we're out of the establishment prison. We're in the populist woods, and there are things that go bump in those woods. I know, not everybody, you're not going to get all the hosts you want. You're not going to get all the opinions you want. You're not even going to get truth all the time. In fact, most of the time, you're not even going to get truth from the right and sometimes even from the left, okay? So, but what you're going to get is a wide range of opinions, and at least you get to make that decision instead of mainstream media shoving it down your throat. All right, thank you, brother.
Okay, that wasn't the worst thing yet.
Come back up.
All right.
So you made an interesting claim. It's very hard to disagree with media and money control all of politics. It's more so who controls the money. When President John Kennedy passed Executive Order Number 1110, which began the process of abolishing the Federal Reserve, which we know was a private institution, he was mysteriously assassinated a couple months after that. So the question is that the money powers of the world, they have a monopoly over the things that we use to transmit and receive information. So my question to you is, how exactly do you combat such a machine that has been in existence since mankind has been on the planet?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned 1938 to 78, because when you make it illegal, it's much harder to do the bribes. It's not that people don't get bribed, they do, but it's more rare, right? But in 76 and 78, the Supreme Court had two decisions that basically said corporations are people and they have a right to spend unlimited money on politics. When they did that, one of the dissenting justices, Justice White, said, you just killed our democracy. And that's exactly what happened. Now, theoretically, you could overturn the Supreme Court, but you're not going to overturn the Supreme Court that is massively pro-corporate. That's why I'm saying you need to do an amendment to go above the Supreme Court, but you can. And that's why I started Wolfpack. If you get money out of politics, if you say in the Constitution in a way that the Supreme Court cannot overrule, these people cannot buy our politicians, that is the answer. We can get back to a time where we created great growth in this country, and most of the earnings went to the middle class. Do you know that after those Supreme Court decisions, productivity still skyrocketed, but wages flatlined, and the difference was $12 trillion that they stole from the average American.
The wage productivity gap. Well, you said the wage Wait, that's my shtick. I can't believe that Cenk Uygur would bring up the precious wage productivity gap. I love this gap. Well, graph. Showing the gap. You know what I mean. Fuck you. Shut up. Yep. Cenk's fucking correct here. Yep. Wage productivity gap. Again, like, money has been going up, but, or productivity has been going up, but, you know, wages, nothing to show for it.
American. When the corporate executives, instead of going to the average
that sounds fantastic. I'm not disagreeing with it. What I'm asking you is, you are talking about fundamentally restructuring the entire political system, which will require, frankly, Thomas Jefferson said once that the tree of liberty has to be watered from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots. Money has obviously integrated itself into the Supreme Court, into the Congress House, into the White House even. With all the money that President Trump did lose in the election because he lost to Cohen and lost billions of dollars. But he was donating billions of dollars. If we don't have, right now, do you have a populist candidate that we as the people should be supporting? Who's the candidate?
So we're going to see that through the system, the primaries, etc. But Jon Stewart's amazing, Ro Khanna's amazing.
And how much money have they gotten from corporate donors?
So Ro Khanna does not take any money from corporate donors. If you're going to be in Rebellion PAC, you're not allowed to take corporate PAC money. So there's a way to do it that way, get enough of the legislators that are honest. And by the way, there's some Republicans who are now not taking corporate PAC money.
So true, Alex.
Josh Hawley. So that's the road to redemption, etc. But an amendment fixes the entire system.
But the question then goes back.
Why is he specifically bringing up fucking Josh Hawley? Dude, again, this is like the main problem that I have with fucking Cenk with the new fucking shtick that he's doing. Again, like, Josh Hawley literally voted with the one big beautiful bill. He's not a fucking populist. He's a charlatan. Like, he doesn't fucking believe anything. It's just fucking stupid.
back to, in order to get an amendment, that requires a 2/3 majority in both houses of Congress, correct?
No, you can actually go around Congress. 2/3 of the states can propose a convention to just propose an amendment, and then 3/4 of the states have to ratify.
Which requires the legislature to take action, right? So how do you get legislatures that already are slaves to the corporate donors? Because the book that I believe in says money, the love of money is the root of all evil, and I think that's absolutely true. A lot of these brothers love money. A lot of sisters love money. So how do you then work? Because what this actually is more of a moral issue. So how do you then re-establish proper functioning morality within the hearts of politicians who have already demonstrated they've been bought by this thing called the U.S. dollar? Because that's what this is.
Yeah, two ways to do that, brother. So number one, what Wolfpack does is it pressures state legislatures. The Republican guy or the conservative guy was talking to earlier. Remember we said when you get to the lower and local levels, it gets better and better. The national level is the worst because that involves the most amount of money. So state legislatures you can move. In fact, Junior Raskin was opposed to our legislation when he was a state representative in Maryland, and then we talked to him and we convinced him, and he said, "You guys are right. Now I'm going to support the constitutional amendment." So you do get some really good people at the state level. So that's a much better path because they have less money. But even so, brother, there's a bigger way.
States, just a quick question. State's fantastic, but we need changes that impact all Americans to take place at the national level. So it's fine for you to focus on state. I understand that the lower ranking elected official is, the easier it is probably to change now. How do you change the person that's sitting currently at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue or the 9 Supreme Court justices that are currently on Capitol Hill?
So that's the great thing about the Wolfpack line. It doesn't require the president at all, and it goes above the Supreme Court. So it doesn't require Congress, the president, or the Supreme Court. It's a total end run of the American people against Washington D.C. And by the way, that's why
I understand what Cenk is saying here, but the problem is that that's gonna get fucking challenged 1000% legally, right? Like, I don't know if, like, has Cenk by any chance talked about the potential consequences of, like, a legal challenge on that, right? Because if what Cenk is saying is true and it happens, right, like, that is 1000% gonna get fucking challenged in the courts. Like, there's no fucking shot that that's not fucking happening, right? Like, I don't think that's, like, ridiculous to say.
Founding fathers put it in there to make sure that if Washington got too corrupt, you can actually call for conventions at the state level and get it done. And how do you do that on a national scale? You need one incredible leader to, instead of worrying about himself, to worry about the American people. If anyone who gets money out of politics is gonna have statues built of them all across the country.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like, again, you're assuming the altruism of a fucking politician. Like, these people are not fucking altruistic. Politicians, even like Bernie Sanders, will, like, he's better about this, right? I don't think that's not silly to say, but, like, politicians have interests. They don't give a fuck about, like, I don't know, like, doing what they think is, like, good for the people at a particular moment. No. The very, very, very few people are like that. But, like, generally speaking, for the most part, like, most politicians, they're just going to act out of their own interests. And they're just going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this because, again, like, well, I'm going to be promised this particular thing if I do this thing. So, fuck it, whatever. I'll just do that. It's not as simple as just like, yeah, this one guy is just like a good guy, and he's just like a good guy. It's so, like, it's reductive. Very reductive.
You need one brave and honest person to say, yes, I'm going to fight for all you guys, and I'm going to put a world of pressure, yes, on politicians in my own party,
so
to get this done.
So based on that, what does that ideal politician look like? Because we haven't seen it. Trump ran, he said, we're going to drain this swamp. He hasn't drained the swamp. We're still waiting on the release of the Epstein files. We're still waiting on the full unredacted release of MLK. We're still waiting on the unredacted release of JFK. What does that actual candidate look like? Because all this rhetoric is fantastic, I got to tell you.
So in our lifetime, because of overwhelming money in politics, we haven't seen an ideal candidate like that, is what you're saying. Right. And I largely agree, except Bernie Sanders is super honest.
He doesn't have
so look, my problem with Bernie is that he didn't have the fight in him. Like, I love the brother, but he should have fought Hillary harder, he should have fought Biden harder, and you need strength to be able to win, right? So, but remember, FDR did it, JFK did it, LBJ did it.
FDR did what? What did FDR do besides steal Americans' wealth?
No.
What did he do?
He did Social Security.
Oh my God. FDR stole the last real wealth we had. He stole when he forced Americans to turn and go to the treasury and $20 an ounce.
No, it's totally possible.
What? Listen, literally fucking, like, FDR was, like, the only reason that fucking American capitalism was fucking saved. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he is the reason as to why the American economy didn't fucking collapse. Like, what? Jesus Christ. All right. This dude's, I think this dude's fucking brain is completely fucking cooked.
You've got to believe and you've got to have hope.
No, I do believe. If I may, just real quick point. You're talking to somebody that's going to run for president in 15 years. Okay, I've already started this. I'm running for Congress in 2030. So it's not that I don't believe. But what I'm asking is, you are talking about the fundamental moral restructuring of America. Right now, 2025, there is no politician on Capitol Hill in the White House that has the sort of fire that you're describing. And what you're saying is again, it's great rhetoric. But if we don't even know what the ideal candidate looks like.
So the reason I mentioned somebody like Jon Stewart is you can't know ahead of time who the ideal candidate is. Okay. They got to come through the primary and win, right? But the reason I mention him is because he can get past the Praetorian Guard of the mainstream media because he's a celebrity. So that gets him to the Trump land where they cover him because, oh my God, he's famous, right? Okay. So that allows him to get past the media, get past money in politics. And if one person like that, whether it's him or someone else, then raise their hand and goes, hey, I'm with the 90% of Americans that want to get money out of politics, and you elect me, and I'm going to fight like hell, and I'm going to make sure that we end this problem, this scourge.
Yeah, the problem is like, I don't know, like, again, like, same point that I'm constantly been reiterating here. This just seems very fucking reductive. I don't think it's as simple as Cenk is saying, where it's just like, dude, I'm gonna, like, fight like hell. I'm gonna do everything possible in order to get fucking money out of politics. I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna totally do it. It's just like, I don't think it's that simple, man. I just don't believe. I don't believe it's just as simple as just like they're just gonna forehead fucking do it. I don't see it.
Of money in politics. He will be intensely popular. He will win. He can execute that, and we can get that amendment. We've gotten so many amendments. They are definitely possible. They want you to give up hope. Don't give up hope. Wolfpack has a plan to do that. Rebellion Pack has a plan to elect a president that can do that. Let's go execute those. Let's go fight for populism and win.
I got a lot more to say. That was great.
Okay, thank you, brother. Okay. I'm torn on this because there's a couple people who didn't talk, but everybody made good points and was certainly sufficiently aggressive. But Oliver, was it? Yeah, you made good points and you didn't come up a second time, so I'll go with you. Yeah, no problem.
Look forward to this opportunity. So my general claim is that Cenk Uygur's populism failed because it treats social issues as a distraction rather than it's essential to achieving economic justice. So kind of my claim here is that there are a lot of social issues that are really important and also really popular with American people, as you're talking about, with a lot of economic issues that are just as popular. If we look at something like the public opinion polling regarding Roe v. Wade, like 70% of Americans were against that, the overturning of that. And I think also what's important in this conversation is to say that the line between social and economic issues is not like very clear cut. If we look at something like abortion and reproductive rights, it is the case that if someone gives birth in this country, a woman gives birth, it's upwards of $18,000, which is a huge economic hit to her. And the Turnaway study found that when women get abortions, or if they're actually denied abortions, they follow up with them about 5 years later, they're 4 times as likely to either remain or have fallen below the federal poverty line. So I think just in general, I'm with you on the claim that we should focus on issues that Americans largely agree about. I just kind of have an issue with, I saw a recent appearance of yours that, culture war issues as it's framed just totally divide. I think there's a bit of a grain of truth to that. We should focus on what unites us, but there are some cultural issues that really do unite us, even if that's not immediately clear in our media landscape.
Yeah, so let me agree and disagree in part. So first of all, if you say, hey, here's a social issue that polls at 70%, should we lean into it? Of course.
Okay.
I'm saying don't lean into the social issues where we're in a great disadvantage. Okay, so this is simple logic and strategy. So for example, Trump again did the travel ban. Originally it was a Muslim ban. You remember that's what he promised on the campaign trail in 2016. And so he's done some variation of that. Would I tell Democrats, because it affects me and it affects vulnerable communities, you should focus on that first? No, do not focus on that first. Focus on the things that unite us first. And then you come in and you pass a public option or a paid family leave or higher wages. What you do is you earn credibility with the average American. And they go, okay, now I'm willing to listen. You delivered for me. I now have higher wages or lower drug prices. So what were you saying about the Muslim ban, or what were you saying about trans sports, or whatever issues that we care about and need people protected on?
And I'm really sympathetic to a lot of that. I guess my major issue is a lot of the political revolutions that we see are founded on social issues. Let's take a look at something like the Civil Rights Movement, which was followed up by the Voting Rights Act and other things like that that drastically improved people's economic standing because they were able to participate in the labor force without discrimination. We see that they go hand in hand. So I guess I'm just wondering, if we're fighting for women to have reproductive autonomy, which allows them to be full participants in the labor force and not be hamstrung by the fact that they're being forced to carry a pregnancy against their will, it seems like that will actually allow women to be more economically productive and contribute to our economy in ways that benefit all of us and are popular. So I mean, can we walk and chew gum at the same time? Like you talked about, like let's do both, right?
Yeah, I literally said that earlier as you just referenced. And so brother, you're not wrong. They're intertwined.
Yeah, I again, like, Cenk is seemingly doing the fucking class reductionist fucking thing. He's being a class reductionist, guys.
Oftentimes, right? So, for example, while they were doing the civil rights campaign, one of the things they were pushing for was something called the freedom budget, which Nina Turner's trying to bring back now. And so, if you notice, by the way, Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated once he started doing the poor people's campaign, right? And he got into issues of class. And Fred Hampton got assassinated when he tried to bring the different groups together, when he tried to unite the country, unite different races and different economic classes. So, what really puts the powerful back on their heels, what they're really worried about, is if we all unite. That's why I'm trying to tell all you guys here, please let go of the Republican politicians, the Democratic politicians that have been driving us apart. So, if they use social issues to bring us back together, great. But they almost always use the social issues to divide us, so that we're so at loggerheads that we don't go, hey, maybe we should raise our wages.
I think it depends on the issue, and I think you can definitely speak to both things. I guess I'm just wondering, if we use that type of reasoning, what would be your advice during around the civil rights movement? Because, for example, racial integration was very unpopular before the Civil Rights Act was passed and the Brown v. Board of Education decision. Would you say that politicians don't lean into it? It's too controversial. You're going to alienate people. Just focus on economic issues. And if they did that, where would we be today?
Yes, you're right. There has to be a moral exception from time to time. So then the question is, wait, is it a giant moral exception, or is it a relatively small issue on a hill we're choosing to die on? So let me give you the distinction. So gay marriage, I thought, was a core constitutional right. So even when it was very unpopular, I fought for it, and we fought until we won, and we convinced the majority of the American people. And only after we convinced the majority did we convince Democratic politicians like Obama and Biden to move. If we had just gone after the politicians, we would not have succeeded in the beginning. So now, when you get to trans women have the right, or they must be allowed to go into sports leagues like the WNBA, we're not at a core constitutional issue.
I'm not even addressing that issue. I'm talking directly. You talk about a moral issue, and I think abortion is a moral issue, and everyone in this circle will agree with that, regardless of which side they fall on it. And I think that women,
super aggressively on the other side.
So I guess just then I'm worried that when your messaging is so much cultural issues distract, cultural issues divide, what it sounds like to me is women's bodily autonomy isn't a core moral issue that is worth fighting for in the same way that gay marriage is to you. That's what it sounds like.
No, I love that you're clarifying. No, that's a core constitutional right. That's your liberty that's being taken away. You want to talk about cancel culture? That's when you say, hey, you don't have the right to control your own body. We're canceling that right. We're taking that freedom away from you. Look, when you look at transgender issues, for example, so should they be allowed to serve in the military? And I know a lot of right wing will disagree with me, but yes, that's a core constitutional issue. Yes, they should have the same rights. But I don't have a right to play in the NBA. They don't have a right to play in the WNBA. That's not a constitutional right. My problem is sometimes the extreme left, they say, okay, no, you should do the maximalist approach, and that is the better strategy. Yeah, and I'm saying don't die on that hill.
No one is fucking saying that, though. Like, literally, again, this is a straw man. No one fucking is saying that, though. Like, literally, nobody is fucking saying that I can't believe that the max left is trying to do everything possible in order to try to, like, push for this particular policy. It's really fucking stupid. Yeah, exactly, Boy Meets Mini. It is the fucking same shit that, like, Anna Kasparian is fucking saying. It's like, no. Like, nobody on the fucking left is saying, like, you have to die on the fucking hill of, like, trans issues or some shit. Like, nobody is fucking saying it. That's, like, literally everybody is saying, like, honestly, the fucking exact opposite. Like, nobody is saying that you have to die on the fucking hill of, like, oh yeah, you need to do, like, literally everything to push, like, for trans people. Like, that's actually what you need to do. It's like, no, nobody has said that. No one on the fucking left fucking agrees with that. That's fucking stupid and ridiculous.
I'll give you an example again from my own community. I'm desperate to get the Palestinians peace. I'm desperate to get Israel to stop the genocide and their attacking, etc. So they do a protest in Washington, D.C. They burn the American flag and write Hamas on a statue. No, don't do that.
I'm agree with
right?
you.
Because if you burn the American flag, you're saying you want to drive Americans away from you. No, invite Americans. Bring American flags to that protest.
Could not agree more. I think then I just don't see then how that comes back to the claim that culture wars kind of divide us. And if they do,
you should not see the trans issue divide the hell out of us.
100%. You are using one issue to describe all of the.
But then you got DEI.
Okay, well, we can talk about that. But you would then have to specify and be a bit more clear. Because look, I understand that we're on YouTube and the goal is to get clicks. And when you make kind of very, like, absolute statements, like all Democrats and Republicans are
the same. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what I'm saying. I probably agree a lot with you on a lot of stuff. I think that when you sideline social issues and make it seem like social issues are secondary, to me, like I think that there are some things that shouldn't be secondary.
All I'm trying to get people to realize is that, first of all, in my opinion, the right wing is the one that brings up all these issues. They went looking for a fight on critical race theory. They went looking for a fight on DEI. They went looking for a fight on trans sports. When they get you in a situation where they've got you on an unpopular policy, stop falling into that trap and that ambush.
And I agree with you. I definitely agree with you in part. I think the problem as well with how the prompt is framed is it treats right-wing fake culture war issues that they make up with real actual issues. Like
I'm kind of agreeing here mostly with Oliver's position because, again, like, it's a lot of the time when right-wingers talk about the fucking culture war fucking issue, it's bunk bullshit, right? Like, the reason why the right wing brings up culture war issues consistently is because they are not interested in fucking addressing policy, right? Because they know that what they believe in fundamentally is unpopular, is not fucking conducive for good outcomes for the fucking American people, right? Like, they are not interested in those fucking popular fucking positions, right? Because they don't actually want to fucking address any of that stuff. Like, that's not ridiculous or hyperbolic to fucking say, to be quite honest. But yeah, like, it's not just as simple as a forehead. Just like, if you just like stop talking about them, you dig your fucking head in the sand, and you do like a little fucking funny song and dance, well, therefore, like, you know, the issue's just gonna disappear and it's just gonna totally not have to be as big of a concern. It's like, no, it's not as simple as that, to be honest. Like, it's a little bit more fucking complicated than that.
Women's bodily autonomy. So, like, I think we're just
Your distinction is no problem at all. It's just when I've lived in the real world is that when I say, hey, maybe we shouldn't go maximalist on every issue, all the other left-wing hosts attack me and go, you're not pure enough. I'm going to get more clicks than you by being even more pure.
And I'm the first person to stand and agree with you that maximalism might not be the correct solution. Often isn't. I just think.
But again, nobody, like, like, some people may be doing that, and that's like a tiny percentage of people on fucking Twitter who are like really stupid and fucking annoying. Oh yeah, Americans and their dumb obsession with sports fairness. Again, yeah, I know, it's so fucking stupid. It's not about, like, again, fairness in sports is a fucking distraction. Like if literally we want to talk about fucking fairness in fucking sports, then Michael Phelps should have never fucking competed in any swimming fucking competition if we want to care about fucking fairness in sports. It's not about fucking fairness in sports for these people. That's a fucking talking point. Cenk is falling into the thing that he says he has a really, really big fucking problem with. Like, the fucking distractions, because that's a fucking distraction.
For winding down, it's just really important to not neglect social issues such as women's access to their own bodies, such as LGBTQ rights. Okay, good. Then I guess then asking you moving forward, maybe make an emphasis that your populism doesn't neglect the very groups that you claim to want to fight for.
You got to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. First of all, 20 against 1, I was born for it.
I'm a populist like Jake, and I was familiar with the Young Turks. His debate style was very, very good. I think he gave both the opposing speaker and himself ample opportunity to have an actual conversation, which is a rarity on a show like this, I have to say.
I've seen Cenk move a little bit. You know, the 2018 Cenk of Justice Democrats did really focus on these issues like he was sitting here today doing, and I would love to see a return of that Cenk.
I think in my conversation he kind of dodged a little bit. I would love to have a little bit more of an open discussion on kind of how he aims to reconcile racial differences in this country.
I don't want him to lean away from social issues and not put emphasis on them because they're hard. Shying away from it because it might lose you some people isn't the way that progress is made.
In a lot of online debates,
That's
people are really
true.
playing to the audience at home. They're not really trying to convince the person they're talking to reconsider their assumptions. And Oliver was able to successfully get Cenk to realize, no, actually, social issues are important.
Z did absolutely amazing. I'm actually a follower of hers on TikTok, and I've seen a lot of her content, and we do disagree. We're on completely opposite sides of the political spectrum, but she spoke with clarity, she spoke concise points. She made Jay backtrack us a little bit, which is always fun to watch, especially again in a show like this.
So one of the people who was right-wing said it to me at the end, after we wrapped, he said, I was really surprised at how much we all agreed on. Exactly. But you got to get past the media, the money in politics, and the politicians to get to the places where we agree.
That's not true. He's doing the fucking thing. He's doing the thing. It's like, no. The people who fucking say that are fucking charlatans. It's complete fucking nonsense. Yeah, it really, really fucking depends. But whatever. Man, that's a video. And it's done. Hooray. Fantastic. So, overall, yeah, trans people. Distraction, clearly. Very fucking stupid. It's really not that simple. It really, really depends on the fucking issue. But anyway, conclusion time, because we love concluding. Blah, 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 blah. It's been a long fucking stream. So generally fucking speaking here, as expected, whoa, all the Republicans on there were just like complete, utter fucking stooges and complete fucking dumbasses. Whoa, what a shocker. I know, really. Oh, crazy. And Cenk, broadly speaking, like, he was just very, very fucking reductionist about a lot of things. Like, a lot of, like, class reductionist shit. Especially, like, when it comes to people that are fucking attacking him for, I think, good fucking reasons. Especially in terms of a lot of the fucking social issues, to be honest, right? Like, the trans people in fucking sports thing. Like, there's a reason why people are as vociferous as they are in terms of those fucking positions. It's because they are currently the minority that is drawing ire and is being scapegoated, you know, unfairly, unjustly, for the Republican Party to be able to sort of be used as a way to come up with excuses for as to why they're not why for their bad policy is failing, but as a sort of screen for their fucking bad policy, which is something that Cenk should be able to fucking realize, being in fucking goddamn politics for as long as he has. Is very often politicians will put up like certain fucking smoke screens all the fucking time in order to distract people from particular issues. That's a very, very common thing that happens in fucking politics. So it's a little fucking weird. Yes, exactly. Yeah, he is a fucking goddamn, like, class reductionist fucking capitalist. And that's mainly the biggest issue that I have specifically with Cenk. He made a lot of the really fucking stupid class reductionist fucking positions, and is just falling for a lot of these stupid propaganda on a bunch of Republican sort of culture war fucking talking points. That's the main issue. I mean, in terms of the economic policy and all this other stuff, yeah, I'm probably not really going to disagree with much of Cenk on, and I'm just probably going to, like, attack other people for that. I did generally fucking attack other people for that shit, and Cenk was pretty much on the money there. Like, no notes on that stuff. But, again, it's not just as simple as, like, forehead, like, dude, if we just, like, stop talking about fucking trans people, then therefore everything's going to be okay. It's just like, okay, whatever. It's really fucking dumb. Yeah, I don't know, like, Zoran Mamdani went to that fucking Pride Parade and in New York, and he was holding a fucking trans flag. No one gave a fuck about any of that shit, because, again, it's just a fucking scapegoat that the Republican Party is fucking using. That's the fucking issue. So, anywho, yeah, overall, like, Cenk, I don't know, class reductionist for the most part. Don't really care about a lot of his fucking drama, to be honest. That was also brought up. And in terms of, like, the populist positions, the left-leaning positions, I'm not really going to have much of a problem with Cenk there. Like, I'm more or less going to agree with most of his stuff. So, yeah, otherwise, like, yeah, it's just the fucking weird class reductionist stuff that he's, like, adopting from fucking Anna for, like, whatever fucking reason. Don't think there's really much else to say besides that.